What's going on, everybody? So first things first, how do I sound? Some of my tests showed that it was a little bit better. This is a new earpiece that I'm using, or a different earpiece, I should say. The last one I had was new also. Still sounds boxy. Does it sound any better though? Because some of my tests that I did before going live at least sounded a little bit better. I don't expect it to be perfect like how my YouTube videos are, but I am trying to get as close to that as possible without like wearing a whole bunch of gear on me. Okay, good. As long as it sounds better than last time, that's at least what I'm going for, and I don't sound like I don't sound as much like I'm talking on a walkie-talkie or like I'm in a space shuttle or something. And I also feel like I can kind of use my regular voice, where in the last one I kind of felt like I was talking above my normal voice just to make sure that I could be heard. But you know, as I go along, I'll keep trying to tweak and make it sound better. You're trying to learn how to play pool, Clayton Maxwell. Is this the right place? I mean, it's a good place to start, at least on my YouTube channel. I've got plenty of instructional videos that should be able to help you out as far as shedding some knowledge on the game that you might not be aware of, so that you can actually practice. Because, of course, if you know how to do something, that's not the same thing as actually being able to do something. So you do have to practice once you learn something. Sound like a dispatcher through a radio behind a glass wall. I mean, I guess I'll have to take that. Like I said, as long as it's an improvement, and then I can be okay with that. So there's still going to be a couple of things that I might have to tweak as far as Bluetooth settings are concerned. Plus, I'm streaming from a laptop. It's not like I have an actual like PC computer with a bunch of wirings and sound equipment in here to be able to like crisp everything up, but it is what it is. So let's see here. So amateur stroke billiards, what's going on? Hey Tristan, how's it going? I still have your video that I'm going to review. It's just going to be a bit before I get to it. Persistent Wolf Billiards, how you doing? G-Man, thanks for stopping by. Eric Pool Guy Simpson 29, thanks for coming. Walden, Big A Walden. Ryan Rep, thanks for stopping by. Clayton Maxwell. Jared Newman. Hey, Todd, don't worry about being late. I think I was like a couple of minutes late starting as I was trying to set some extra stuff up. Near Sharoni, how's it going? Bang time. Like we got a pretty good crew in here. Is there a question-answer segment? The whole stream is question-answer segment. You know, I'll still do my practice runs that I'll do on the table, and then come back and check to see if there's any questions that I can answer. What's going on, Joe and Joe? Joe Strauss and Joe's Pool School. Max P. Davies, thanks for stopping by. Adrian Schindel, I hope I pronounced that correctly. Beer Can, what's going on? Yeah, the critique videos with the other two, that's me just playing around with the settings, because there's a difference between recording my voice that's going through my headset and then recording the actual sound that's coming through the Zoom meeting. And so I tried to balance the two to where one doesn't overpower the other. And I guess on my last one, I had them too high and I had me too low. So the next time we get together to do a review video, I'll be able to try to tweak it a little bit better. Michael Price, thank you. I appreciate that. Mr. Edit One, how's it going? Oh, I look handsome, huh? I appreciate that. Near Sharoni, when I play, how many shots in advance do I usually plan? Well, if it's an 8-ball game, the answer is going to be depends. As long as there aren't too many clutters on the table, I can usually plan the entire route all the way to the 8-ball. So, I mean, sometimes it could be anywhere between 5 to 6 balls ahead. In 9-ball, it's pretty much the same thing. Like, I know that there will be a point, or I'll have a good idea that there'll be a point to where, like, I might not be able to run the table, so I'll plan 2 balls ahead and then plan to play a safety. So while we're at it, let's go ahead and try a rack. So let me make sure that I turn this off first. And then, of course, tell me how the balls sound from the actual play. Because, again, my tests showed that they were a little bit louder than last time, but just hopefully they're not overbearing. All right, got a decent break on this one. I have a shot on the 1 ball, so I'll go ahead and try not to use ball in hand on this one. Position on the 2 will be a little difficult. I'm just going to push the cue ball to the side rail and take a long shot on the 2 ball. Ideally, I would probably take ball in hand so I can get better position on the 2 ball. Because from here, I'll just cut the 2 ball in. I don't have any side spin on the cue ball. The cue ball should naturally hit the short rail and then come back out for position on the 4 ball. Yep, I missed. Yep. So we'll try it again. Pretty much the same shot, but a thinner cut. Okay, except I do run into the 4 ball this time. This is just a stun shot, so I'll put a little bit of bottom spin. Come out for the 5. I have a small angle on the 5, so if I wanted to, I can draw underneath the 8 ball and come out this way, or just push it to the side rail and come out this way. Either one is fine. I actually tried to go underneath the 8 ball, so this is going to be with some bottom right spin. Now the question here becomes, do I want to be on this side to shoot the 7 up here, or do I want to be on this side to shoot the 7 down here? There's no real right or wrong answer. This is personal preference. Because of where the 8 ball is at, I think I'd rather be on this side. That way I can just push the cue ball up for position on the 8 ball in the side pocket. Whoops. That's why it's a warm-up game. All right. Try a deep cut into the corner pocket. And to undercut that one. I'm going to try to play this in the right corner pocket and flare the cue ball 3 rails. These are not easy to control. All right, now you guys get to see the human side of me because I do miss. Try this in the side pocket, have the cue ball go down table and back up for position on the 8. There we go, except I think I overhit this one. Yep, I scratched. So actually, let's just do this. Actually have something a little different for everybody tonight. And me missing like this is going to make me more comfortable for my match on Tuesday. That's really why I like to do this. That way I don't have to worry about having high expectations. All right, let's see. What am I missing? Sounds like the table sound is coming from the phone camera setup. There is no phone camera setup in here. It's only webcams. Tristan, I don't really particularly care how fast my break is. All I really care about is the spread. And I've never really even tried clocking my break speed. Amateur stroke billiards, when people are referring to APA 7 and 9, 7 is the highest rank that you can have in an 8-ball league, and 9 is the highest rank that you can have in a 9-ball league. It is not referring to the size of the table. Chris, how often, or near Sharoni, how often do you practice your safety play? I heard that most pool players give safety a lot of emphasis in their practice sessions. I guess I can say that I don't really practice them, like especially when I'm playing by myself. I mean, who really practices playing safeties on themselves? But, you know, because I practice controlling the cue ball to play position, I don't really see how that's any different than practicing to play a safety, because you're doing the exact same thing, except you're not playing position to shoot another ball. You're playing position to allow your opponent to not be able to shoot out a ball. So I would think it works both the same way. Safeties, though, can be more precise precision, especially if you're trying to hide the cue ball directly behind a ball, especially to freeze up on another ball. So that I could probably say that you probably would want to at least be able to practice on that. Yeah, the lights that I do have are bright. I guess I can eventually try to figure out, here, let me show you what it's like with different lights. So there's the garage light that's just going to look like this. Or that's the garage door opener light. Then I have an actual garage light that's in here that looks like this, but it casts a shadow to one side of the balls, because the actual garage light is to, let me get in the frame here, the actual garage light that I have is on this side of the pool table, so the shadow will cast this way. The lights that you're seeing now that I'm using are directly above the pool table, so that way the shadow casts completely down onto the table, and there's 2 of them that are up there. That's why it's so bright. Oh, and I did it again. Let's try this again. So here, this is the garage door opener light. And then this is the actual garage light that is sitting over here to the right of my pool table from where I'm standing. But above me, right next to the garage door opener motor, are 2 lights, fluorescent lights that I have that shine directly down onto the table. So that way the shadows that are casted on the balls go straight down rather than off to one side. So you probably should be able to notice that the center of my table is what is really bright, and then basically everything around the table is what's dark or darker. Amateur stroke billiards. So APA 9 can be achieved on a 7-foot table playing 9-ball. I mean, yes, most of your APA, BCA, I think even VNEA are played on 7-foot bar box tables. I think it really just depends on what the pool hall has to offer for their leagues. I'm not very aware of many pool halls that have like 8-foot coin-operated tables or 9-foot coin-operated tables. So yeah, as long as you're playing in a 9-ball league, like I said, the ratings go from 1 to 9, and in 8-ball the ratings go from 2 to 7. Do I have any tips on warming, insulating up the garage? Me and my dad recently got a table in our garage, but the weather and humidity. So my house is built, and when I had them build this house, I made sure to tell them to put insulation into the walls, insulation above the ceiling, and even my garage door is insulated. And then I even have a mini split that's attached to my garage, so that way I can control the heating and air conditioning inside of here with the separate unit. So if it gets too cold in here, I can turn on my mini split to warm it up, and if it gets too hot in here, I can turn on my mini split to cool it down. All of my cameras right now are Logitech C920s. Do I play darts? Yes. The dartboard that you actually see, I just haven't, it's kind of there for decorative purposes right now because I have yet to turn it on and I've yet to use it. But it also has been a long time since I've played darts. Jaworski Pool Practice. How's it going, bud? Thanks for stopping by. All right, so I want to try something else, and I'm going to leave all the cameras on right now. Let me just set up a rack. Because, like I said, I have something different for everybody to check out. So I left the face cam on purpose. And what I would like to know is, what do y'all think of this? Let's turn this off and then turn that off. And what do we think of this? Because now I have a completely different camera setup as well. And this will also be used in my YouTube videos every now and again. All right, no clear shot this time, so I am going to take ball in hand. So what I can do with this one, start with the one ball in the side pocket and kind of stun down here for the two in the opposite side pocket. Do the same exact thing for the three in the same side. So this is with a little bit of draw. Then here I can just roll the cue ball for position on the 5. If any of y'all heard me, not necessarily commentate, but I give suggestions on Jim's stream, Bang Time stream, you'll hear me say to the players that, you know, I'd like to see more tighter cue ball movements. And this is basically what I'm referring to, because my cue ball is moving very little. Now, here's the only exception, depending upon what kind of position I want to play. I can try to play position over here, which means my cue ball has to go down here and then come back up. Or I can just push the cue ball forward, which is a lot less movement. And a lot less movement means a whole lot easier to control. I missed this one last time. Let's see if I can make this one. But all starting from that initial shot on the 1 ball, y'all should have seen that my cue ball movement was very little. I mean, if I had to guesstimate, the cue ball never moved more than like a foot, maybe, if that. James Sampson, don't compare the audio to my YouTube videos because that uses completely different audio equipment. For my live streams, I pretty much use Bluetooth pieces that are Bluetooth straight to my computer. So I'm not expecting it to be completely the same thing, but I do want it to be at least good, you know, because unless I'm going to wear some heavy-duty gear or whatever, I'm not going to be able to get the audio like picture perfect. Plus, I still have to play with the software settings to try to get it as good as I possibly can. And where's the car parked? Outside the garage. Do I have a great 9-ball practice drill? I wouldn't necessarily call it great, and it's not my drill, but on my channel you can find the Nick Varner 9-ball drill. If you've seen my last live stream, I'm not really a big fan of like difficult pattern drills because I don't consider those to be drills. I consider them to be more like challenges. So if you can complete the difficult pattern drill, you know, great. I prefer to try to use drills that actually allow you to practice a specific mechanic. In the pattern drills that are out there, you obviously do practice mechanics, but it's a blend of mechanics sometimes. You won't always be shooting the same mechanic over and over and over again. You're going to shoot whatever is necessary to get position. So I don't see how that's any different than just playing a rack of 8-ball or playing a rack of 9-ball. But the Nick Varner 9-ball drill that I made a video on has the mechanic of, or the pattern play of moving from one side of the table to the other side of the table, which is something that you do very often in a match. So to me, that's a good drill to practice. You'll be using a lot of outside spins on most of the shots that are in there. Yep, that's my Roomba. Helps me keep the floor clean in here. Yeah, well, with the other camera angle, like I said, I was literally just setting it up before I went live. So I mean, I'll be trying to tweak the light settings and stuff to be able to get the balls to show up more. This is all like just default setting stuff. Do you have any tips to clean the balls and to keep them clean? I mean, I have a diamond ball cleaner that I can use to clean all 16 balls, 16 which is 15 plus the cue ball. I mean, other than that, just clean them on a regular basis. I mean, I think I might clean mine like maybe, I don't know, maybe once a month or every other month. No, I'm not drinking any beers tonight. New Age colored balls, I think the only colored difference is the 7 ball and the 15 ball, because this is the Cyclops Zeus set. So you're probably at least referring to the old Aramis set that would have a maroon 15 ball and 7 ball. What do I use to clean them? I have that around here somewhere. In fact, where did it go? Oh, here we go. So hopefully you'll be able to see this, but I have just a Aramis ball cleaner. So I just put them in the ball cleaner and then just put a little dab on each of the balls because it basically spins and buffs them up. So the polisher will eventually get all over them and then polish them up. I believe the cameras should be off on autofocus. Like I'm using my MacBook, so it doesn't have the same exact settings that I have access to for when I'm on my PC. So the tip that came on my Revo shaft is a Predator Victory Soft, and I do like it. It took me a day or two to get used to it, and also because of the carbon fiber, just getting used to having less deflection or less squirt on the cue ball. But I mean, it's great. I mean, you know, I've shot with many different cues, many different types of tips. I still own many different types of cues, and if I had to rank everything between like my Predator Revo, my Sean, my Viking, and even my new Jacoby, it would probably have to be Predator first, probably my Viking that has a Kamui Clear medium next. Then I think my Jacoby that has a Zan medium that I recently used in my my last pool drill video that I do, and then my Sean would actually be last because it still has its factory tip on it, and I do plan on eventually changing that tip because that tip is 6 years old, and I'm going to be putting this guy on it. This is a How tip that I won in a raffle. I'll eventually make a new tip replacement video, like the one that I did before. So I can see what this guy sounds like. I've heard nothing but good things about the How tip. Tristan, I know people here that still use snooker cues when they play pool. It doesn't really make that much of a difference, at least from what I've seen. What's a good non-phenolic break tip? The only ones I've ever heard of are the Samsaras. That they're both they're good for breaking and good to play with as well. The snipers, I guess you're referring to the Tiger snipers. I've heard a lot of good things about those. I actually have a bunch of them. Yeah, I think that's what these are. I think these are the snipers. They're either the Tiger snipers or the Tiger Everests. Nope, I lied. These are the Everests. Never mind. The Elk Masters, as far as I know, those are like the old school tips. Like they go as far back as like La Pros. I think they're considered factory tips. And aren't some of the, let me see if I can look this up. Aren't some of the Elk Masters like they're already like loaded with chalk? I think. Am I thinking of the correct thing? Let's see, play Q-tips. Yeah, the Elk Masters. Yeah, super soft tips. And aren't the tips already like loaded with chalk in them? I think. I don't know. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. No, my facial hair has never been snagged as of yet. I've had my cross get snagged before on some corner pockets, like that on some pool tables that have like the metal or it's like some bally tables that have the metal that goes around their pockets. My cross would get snagged on them. All right, let's go do another rack. So we said there was the lighting wasn't as good, so we'll turn back the front camera. We'll do a rack this way. Okay. Y'all should have seen a pretty common theme now with the way that I break in 9-ball, at least by using a magic rack, and that's watch that wing ball. And yeah, every now and again I'll get the 1 ball to drop as well. Okay, so if we look at how the 3-ball looks, if I were to play a stop shot on the 2-ball, like that would be decent position to have. So I don't want to do it. I do need to draw it back just slightly, otherwise the 8-ball is going to hook me. Because now I can play another stop shot, but do I want to? Because now I'll be straighted on the 4, which should be fine. But I'm actually going to draw it a little bit so I can have an angle to go to the short rail. But I didn't draw it, so I'm still straight in. So now I'm just going to draw back to the 5. Overhit it. Nope, good enough. Now from here, if I wanted to, I don't have to use side spin because my cue ball is going to go to the rail, and the angle that it's going into the rail is already good enough. Come back for the 7. So putting side spin would just cause me to get closer to the 8-ball. Same thing with this one. If I push the cue ball forward, it's already going to go into the rail at an angle that would come out naturally for the 8-ball. And now I just have a small angle on this 8-ball to where I can kind of just draw back a little bit for a position on the 9. But again, very small cue ball movements if possible. Every now and again you'll see me turn my cue ball loose because I have to. But if I don't have to, I'm not going to. Like I said, because it's just so much easier to control. FFFQQ, yes, it's a Predator Black 4.5 with a 12.9 Revo shaft. The classic break works for almost any type of game. The classic break is just, or what I call the classic break, is just designed to try to make the head ball into the side pocket, because whether you're using a magic rack or not using the magic rack, in my opinion, the head ball is the most controllable ball out of the rack. You know, because if I were to start using a non-magic rack here, then the likelihood of me making that wing ball starts to dramatically drop unless I can give myself a perfect rack. So when I'm playing in league, for example, and I'm using my classic break, I'm usually trying to pocket the head ball into the side pocket. See, I see all these different variety of tips people like to use, and that's the main reason why when people ask me what do I recommend, I don't give a recommendation. I just tell them, try what you think you want to try and see if you like it. Because it's just all personal preference. So when breaking an 8-ball or 10-ball and you want to make the second row of balls in the side pockets, what speed and spin should I use to make one or both of them in the side pockets? That's going to be a humongous, it depends. If it's a 7-foot table, an 8-foot table, or a 9-foot table, that's going to determine your speed. The type of felt is going to determine your speed. But I mean, for the most part, you're going to want to hit that head ball pretty square on from almost like near the middle of the table. And then probably just use a touch of topspin to try to squat the cue ball into the center of the table, because the weight of the rack is going to push the cue ball back all by itself, and just a little bit of topspin can fight it so that way it can stay near the middle of the table. If you put too much topspin with too much power, you're just going to drive through the rack again, which is what you don't want to do. You have a bad habit of hitting too low on the cue. How many tips down should you hit for maximum draw? Well, I mean, if you're calling it a bad habit, what are you doing? Are you scooping the cue ball? Because if you're scooping the cue ball, that's a clear indication that you are going too low. So just go a little bit higher, and you should be getting the maximum draw effect that you're looking for. There's no real good measurement that I can give you, because I'm pretty sure you've heard people say a tip of below center or 2 tips below center. Well, that could be a little cryptic, right? Because what does a tip represent? 13 millimeters, 12 millimeters, 11 millimeters. I like the way Dr. Dave says it, even though I do say use tips worth of spins, but Dr. Dave likes to use percentages. So the center being 0, and if you go halfway between center and bottom, that's 50% below center, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So 50% above center, or 50 to the right or left. If you were to use percentages, I'd probably say close to 75% or 80% below center probably would give you the maximum draw. Am I going to do any jump shots? I mean, I can do some on purpose. If I'm playing the ghost, chances are I'm probably never going to do a jump shot, not with the way that I play the ghost. Let's see. Let me try this. Let me grab my 10th ball. We're doing a lot of discussions on the second row. So let me see if I can do this for y'all. Go ahead and bring out the 10th ball. I'll play the ghost on this one too. So we'll just see what kind of spread that I get if I decide to take ball in hand or not. I've said this too many times that the magic rack will literally spoil you in regards to predicting the pattern of the balls. Like literally all 9 balls except for the 10 ball has a pattern that they're going to go in. Since I'm slightly to my left of the center, the one ball should be tracking down this way so long as I hit it slightly to the left of the center. Watch the two balls in the second row head towards their respective side pockets. The third row will bank to the cross side pockets. The 2-ball and the 3-ball will go 4 rails into their corner pockets, and the back middle balls will go off the short rails and head towards here. But then, of course, pay attention, because if something collides, then of course the path is going to get altered. But for the most part, that's where they're all going to go. And I don't really break this any different than I would in 9-ball. So look at the 8-ball, look at the 5-ball, they both went. Look at the 2-ball. Right, so I barely missed the side pockets, right? So what do I tell you that is going to cause to make, or the percentage to make it to be a little bit higher? I don't know, hit a little bit harder, hit a little bit softer. I mean, that's really what you got to play with to figure all that out. But I think every ball pretty much went their respected routes. Let's see if I can run this out. So now we just got that one extra ball on the table, so it makes it a little bit more difficult to run out. Oh, crap. Didn't even get lucky on that one. But I hope that makes sense with what I explained. The main thing I wanted to show was the break. Oh, good night, Sharoni. At least thanks for stopping by. It's 4 a.m. at your end, so I do appreciate you stopping by. Have a good night, bud. Mick Lullick, no, this is a 8-foot table. I couldn't actually fit a 9-foot, or at least decently fit a 9-foot table in my garage. I mean, I'd prefer to have a 9-foot table, but the majority of the players in my area, or the pool scene in my area, is dominated by league. So we play a lot on 7-foot tables, not a whole lot on 8-foot tables. So that's the reason why or 9-foot tables. That's why I got an 8-foot table, so that way I can be like in the middle and I don't have to adjust so much between playing on a 7-foot table or playing on a 9-foot table. Hey, Dan, how's it going? Thanks for stopping by. Surf Topics, what's up? I mean, if y'all want, like, you do this, do it again, and I'll put some power into this break. It won't be 100% because I don't really like hitting the rack that hard. Because the harder I start to hit the cue ball, the more control I start to lose on the cue ball. And anybody that actually knows me, I like to have as much control as possible on the cue ball. So there might actually even be some body movement. Like I normally try to stay down when I break, but if I'm going to be putting power into this break, you're probably gonna see me stand up or rise a bit. Oh, let's see how this goes. And someone once said to me that if the 10-ball moves out of a magic rack, it's actually a terrible break. And I saw the 7-ball dropped. Where was the 7-ball in the rack? I wasn't paying attention. Now, I'll be surprised if I can get position on this one because I have to push through everything just to get to that 3-ball. And then more than likely, I'm going to miss this. And that's without taking ball in hand. But even with this extra ball on the table, like I said, unless I'm doing this, which is going from one end of the table to the other, my cue ball movement is going to be relatively small. So here, I'll just push the cue ball to the side rail and back out because the 6 ball will go into the same pocket. Now I can just push forward for position on the 8. Now I have a pretty steep cut angle, so I'm probably going to go 2 rails for position on the 9. I'm not going to try to hit this so soft to play a 1 rail position shot. Or I can just hit the 10 and not guess correctly. Oh, I overcut that one. But even if I was playing in a match, I wouldn't be breaking as hard as I did on that break. I don't feel like I'm just in as much control as I could be. All right, so the 7 ball was in the second row. So I mean, there you have it. That's usually the ball that I'm going to be betting on that goes. And the corner balls are also the high probability that they're going to go 4 rails and fall into their respective corner pockets, provided, of course, nothing gets in their way. Yeah, exactly, amateur stroke. There's no point in breaking hard with a magic rack. When I go down into the shot, should be in the shot line, or can it be outside of the shot line? I'm going to assume you're asking about your feet, and I'm just going to tell you whatever works for you. There's like, you know, if you know all the good professional pool players are out there, none of them shoot the same way, right? So there's not like the right way to actually shoot. Hey, have a good night, Joe. Thanks for stopping by. Nick G, that's just my habit that I have with my fingers twitching when I bridge. Anthony Gomez, thanks for the birthday wishes, bud. That was 3 days ago. I'm 40 years old in 3 days. Did I get to MM boot camp yet? No, that is going to be in 2 weeks. So not this coming week, but the following week I'll be in Minnesota. Your shoulders. Well, I mean, I'm going to tell you no, because like if you watch how I usually set up for a shot, my right foot and my cue, which is and my arm, which is going to have my right shoulder, is going to be behind the cue ball, which is going to be behind the shot line. My left foot and my left side of my arms are going to be off to the left, so they're not going to be behind the shot line. Backyard Billiards, how's it going? Horatio, thanks, bud. I'm glad you caught the stream. I'll be playing again on this coming Tuesday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, I think. All right, Walden, thanks for stopping by, bud. All right, let's go do another rack, except this time we're going to do 9-ball. That's what I'm preparing for Tuesday. All right. So just like before, watch the 3-ball. All right, just for the heck of it, I'll take no ball in hand. Let me see if I can bank this and still get position on the 2-ball. Don't drop. Ah. All right. Play this with some topspin and try to get the cue ball to come off the short rail and back up for position on the 6. So I have a little bit of an angle, so I think a draw shot would work just fine, or I can push to the short rail and back out. Try the draw shot, though. Whoops, I overcut the ball. And you can really tell because of where my cue ball's at. My cue ball should be somewhere right around here. And I'm going to hit the 9. Oh, close. The rack was already over after I missed the 6-ball for ghost rules. I'm just trying to finish the rack out. Ooh. Glad I'm getting all this out now. Hopefully I won't be doing this on Tuesday. There we go. All right, what are we coming back to here? Yeah, Matthew and Surf Topics. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, on paper, Demetrius is like 100, almost like 110 points higher than me on the Fargo rating. So clearly, he has something that he can offer me to maybe allow me to look at the table more differently or understand different shots. You know, just something that I can add to my arsenal of what I already have. So like, I'm really looking forward to it. Is pattern racking allowed? I think I think it's fine. One thing I know that's not allowed is soft breaking for Bang Times tournament. Yeah, I heard that Minnesota was shut down because Demetrius was talking about like we'd go out and do some public appearances while I was there, but we're not going to be able to. It's just going to be strictly training. Freddie G, how old were you guys when you first started learning pool seriously? For me, it was 17. I talked about it in episode 1 of my pool talk series. All it took was me witnessing a draw shot for the first time. Chris BYD, that's awesome, man. I have an 8-ball team and a 9-ball team that's also supposed to be going to cities that hopefully should be happening here in February/March time frame. And my 8-ball team right now is currently in the playoffs for the next city event that I think is supposed to be like in the June/July time frame. Jay Bird, my man, how's it going? Thanks for stopping by. I'm going to tell all of y'all to go and check out his YouTube channel. He has a ton of drills that he demonstrates. He doesn't really talk. I'm trying to get him into talking while he does his videos, but it's still some really good stuff to see the types of drills that he's able to execute on his channel. So go give him a look and give him a follow or a subscription. How much did my 8-foot diamond table cost? Trying to remember because it was a few years ago. I think it was somewhere between 5,000, 5 to 6,000, I think. Michael Price, what is the advantage of soft braking and why it's not allowed? You can check out Corey Doole's soft braking videos, or even check out Dr. Dave. He does a great demonstration of the advantages that soft braking can have, especially when you combine soft braking with pattern racking. So in short, in 9-ball, if you were to put the 2-ball and the 3-ball behind the 1-ball, so being in front of the 9-ball from the 3rd row, when you do a soft break, you're going to make the wing ball, and you normally will have a shot on the 1-ball, and the 2-ball or the 3-ball is going to be set up for a 9-ball combination. So you can pretty much end the rack in like 3 or 4 shots on a rather consistent basis. And that's why they started outlawing soft breaking. And that's also the reason why they came up with the 3-point rule, where you have to either get 3 balls to cross the head string or pocket 3 balls or some combination thereof. So in other words, if you pocket a ball like you normally see me do, then only 2 balls have to cross the head string, and that would be in what's the word I'm looking for? Compliance with the 3-point rule. Jared, I'm in Texas, and we're pretty much open back up to 75% capacity. There's lots of rumors that we might scale back to 50, but none of that has happened yet. Jaybird, what did I change on my audio? This piece here. So the first audio piece that I have was just a generic brand that I got off of Amazon. This is actually a Plantronics earpiece, which was like the most recommended earpiece to try as far as Bluetooth is concerned. A little bit more pricey than the first one that I bought, but if the audio is better, then it's worth it, because that's what I want to have, is at least better audio. Mastering Pool Channel. I think I know which one you're talking about. Yes, his editing skills that he has on there is awesome. He has some really, really cool special effects that he does, where he does use his pool table. He does green screen his pool table to do some really, really cool effects on there. You know what? I can honestly say that I've never tried the 9 on the spot, so let's go do that. Because as far as I know, the break is completely different with the 9 on the spot. I mean, I'll go ahead and I'll just for now break the same exact way. But as I understand it, you're actually supposed to do more of a cut break to still get the wing ball to go. But I think if I just do my normal break, the wing ball is not going to go. Yeah, the wing ball misses low. But I think if I do a little bit of a cut break, it would actually go. Because otherwise, I'd probably focus more on trying to make the one ball in the side pocket. Because I think at least when the one ball is higher up off the spot, it's probably a little bit easier to make. I hit that way too soft. Let's see if I can cross bank this. Nope. So breaking with the 9 on the spot is a little bit different. I've never really studied it so much. Not typically a way that we play in my area. Leave myself a shot on this one either. Try to bank this into the corner. Oh, come on, I made that one. All right. Ooh, way off. Okay, this one I do have some right spin on it because I want to make sure I end up between the 7 and the 8. Because the natural angle on that one just would not cut it. Okay, make sure the 8 ball can pass the 9. And just try to draw back off the 7. Oof. Nope, undercut it. And I cleared the entire table. RD, Autistic Ski, thanks for stopping by, man. I really appreciate it. Asmara Putra, I hope I said that right. Yes, it is an 8-foot table. Being a beginner, what are the best drills and how long do you practice in each drill? I mean, So the way I've described it before when it comes to drilling, you just really need to identify what you're weak at. Because it's, you know, each drill that you do is going to hopefully be designed to help you with whatever it is you're weak at. So if you're weak at doing draw shots, you're going to set up a bunch of shots where you do a bunch of draw shots to try to play position on the next ball. So that could be drawing from one end of the table or the other. I actually did on my channel, you'll find a 3-in-1 straight-in drill. Where you can have there's like a total of 84 variations if you do the setup appropriate, to where you can practice stop shots, follow shots, and draw shots. And it's also supposed to help you truly see how straight you're actually aiming, because regardless of if you're doing a cut shot or a straight in shot, you still have to deliver the cue ball straight. So you still have to be able to see whatever it is that you think you need to see, because every time you get down on a shot and you shoot, you obviously think what you're doing is going to be correct. But then when you see the results of the shot and you see that you end up missing, then whatever it is that you saw is not correct. So that's what hopefully the straight in drill helps you visually see when you're actually lining up shots. But then when it's time to practice bank shots, you're going to set up a bunch of bank shots and try to bank them from different lengths of the rail, different diamond positions, so that you can bank from sharper angles, shorter angles. You know, really just find things that are out there. Don't go for, like I said, don't go for pattern drills that have like a specific pattern for you to be able to run the table. Like I think the L-shaped drill. That's very popular. I mean, that's a good drill for tight cue ball movement, because you're going to move the cue ball very, very little, but you're also not going to be shooting the cue ball the same exact way. You're going to shoot it appropriately to keep your position on the next ball. So drills that are designed like that, I consider them to be more like challenges and not necessarily drills. The template rack really doesn't matter to me. I mean, you can see that I have both Magic Racks and AccuRacks, which is made by Outstill. I use them both interchangeably. It really doesn't matter. How do you adjust from practicing on an 8-foot table to playing on a 9-foot table? Just hitting a little bit harder. I mean, literally just a little bit harder, because it's only 6 inches longer in each direction going from the sides, and I think only to 4.5 by 9. So it's only versus a 4 by 8. So, and it's only 1/4 of an inch longer on or wider. So, you know, it's just a little bit more cue ball movement, so you do have to hit it just a little bit harder. But for the most part, it's not that much of an adjustment. Just like when I'm going down a table, then I'm allowed to hit softer. And I'm already a soft hitting type of player. So going to a 7-foot table from an 8-foot table is really easy, at least for me. And the reverb that you're hearing, Q student, that's going to be pretty common. I am streaming from my garage, and I don't have as much stuff in here to reduce as much echo as possible. Plus, this is a Bluetooth piece to my computer. It's not wired in. So this is probably as clean as my audio is going to get until I do some more tweaking with the settings. Talking runs and making runs. Do me a favor, guys, and go and check out his YouTube channel as well. This is another YouTuber that I've been working with in regards to improving qualities of his videos, qualities of his gameplay, et cetera, et cetera. He does put in a lot of hard work, just like the rest of us do. So be sure to show him some love. Show us how many table lengths you can make with a draw shot. I did that in my straight-in drill, but I mean, I guess I can try it here live. I was able to draw the full length of the table, but I can try it. So chances are it's not going to be pretty, like it's not going to be straight back. But this is pretty much what I did with my straight-in drill. Is in my straight-in drill, I had a total of 8 diamond lengths So the cue ball and the object ball were 7 diamond lengths apart, and I was able to draw it all the way back to the short rail here. Like I said, it's not a pretty draw shot because it doesn't draw straight back like I would want. But I think it adds up to roughly about 14, 15 feet. I hit the rail. That doesn't count. I hit the rail. Let's try it again. And this is the benefit of the straight-in drill, because I am trying to to hit that one ball square, so that way it doesn't veer off to one side or the other. And when I did my setup, I had a laser out, so that way I can make sure that the reinforcement labels were perfectly straight. Because if it's off by just a little, then the cue ball is going to roll off to one side. Same thing. I didn't hit it square. All right, so I'm aiming too far to my right, even though it looks like I'm aiming straight at it. That's the whole point that I was trying to make in that straight-in drill video that I made. I'll try to aim a little bit more to my left. Whoa! There's the consequence of not having a straight stroke or not having enough chalk on your cue. Possibly moving at the last second and dipping down a little bit lower. How did that sound, actually? That's what I'm really curious. How did the audio sound when I miscued like that? All right, come on now. I feel like y'all are putting me on the spot with this. Well, like I said, I have to hit the ball straight in order to get the effect that y'all are looking for. So I'm going to try one more time. But even coming off of the rail like that, that's not bad. I drew half the table length. Am I over-adjusted? There we go. That should be good enough, right? And it's very rare that I'll have to do something like that. And yeah, that's the other thing too. This is on an 8-foot table. If it was on a 9-foot table, it'd be harder. So I have more distance to travel. Sounds like nails on a chalkboard. Jaybird, my next tournament match is going to be on Tuesday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, I believe, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Well, if all of Demetrius' shots start off as soft, that's my methodology as well. Because if you can't do, like, if I were to actually train for that, the first thing I would want to do is to stop the cue ball directly on contact. Then try to draw the cue ball back a foot or so, and then just gradually try to increase the distance that I can actually draw. Like it's a definite crawl, walk, run, and then fly methodology. I don't try to just jump straight to the end. Very cool shot. What was that called? I mean, it's referred to as a power draw shot because of how far or how much power I have to put into the cue ball, and you have to realize that the cue ball is traveling roughly 7 to 8 feet forward and then drawing itself 7 to 8 feet back. Do I do one-on-one training or just replay reviews? Currently, I just do replay reviews because I don't have enough free time to do one-on-one training between my job, between managing a YouTube channel, between managing APA team members, et cetera, et cetera. It's just I don't have a whole lot of free time. I'm thankful that my day is like busy, so that way I'm never bored. But that's why I do the review videos instead. And even that I'm behind on. I think I still have like 6 to review on my own. Tristan Plays that you see here in the chat, he's a video that I have to review. If you scroll up, there's another YouTuber by the name of Near Sharoni that was in here. I have to review his. So yeah, there's just a bunch of them. Plus, there's also like 6 or 7 other videos to review for both me, Demetrius from MN Pool Bootcamp, and Nate from the Queued Up podcast. So like a total of 13 different videos to review. I mean, like I'm fully backed up on those. And then plus just to be able to do like other types of YouTube videos. Like I don't want my YouTube channel to just be me doing reviews. I think that would get rather boring. So I try to mingle it in there every now and again. It's easy peasy. It's easy to take up a lot of my time to do all this stuff. Plus, if you're talking about is it easy to do the reviews, I mean, if the video that someone sends me is like 30 minutes long, for example, I think I probably spend close to 4 times the amount watching it. So I could be watching that video for 1 or 2 hours because I'm doing replays, I'm watching stuff in slow motion, so that way I can really, really try to figure out how to tell them what I think they need to work on. Oh yeah, Tristan. There's probably no way that I'll be drawing on the full length of a snooker table. Can you do a power draw jump shot? Never had to try, so I would probably say no. Most of the time when I'm doing a jump shot, I'm just more worried about making the ball that I'm trying to contact. You know, contacting the ball and then making the ball. That's the priority. Because I don't even know. Let's see what kind of control I can possibly have with a jump shot. Well, I bet this is going to sound lovely. But this is the 4 ball, and that's where the 6 ball is at. This is probably going to sound lovely. Like, I don't even know if I could draw to get this back to the 6 ball. But, I mean, I can try. So I start at center ball from my elevated view, but then I need to drop down a little bit if I want some draw. Yeah, I got the draw, but like I said, my accuracy goes completely out the window. Especially since I have to hit it harder. So first, I usually line up like the 9 ball's not even there. Then I start to elevate once I think I'm lined up. Ah. All right, one last attempt. Now, someone let me know how does this sound when I do this. Hitting it to my right, so I need to there. Adjusted the aim a little bit. There we go. But see, like there's like no draw on it. And if I wanted to draw it, I would probably have to pop the cue ball higher into the air and hit it so much harder just for the draw to stay on it. Oh, good. It doesn't sound too bad? Well, good. How are my massé shots? I did a massé video that basically explains like how I execute a massé shot. It's based on the Coriolis effect. You might want to at least check that out. I'm fairly accurate at them. I'm not going to say that I hit them 100% of the time, but for the most part, I'll make contact on the ball that I'm trying to curve into. Do I still use CTE religiously? I never used CTE religiously. I studied it because my viewers wanted me to try to explain it. Does it work? I am going to say that it works. Do I know enough of it like everybody else? No, I don't. If I tried to spend more time figuring it out, I probably could get a little bit better at it. And I just realized. There we go. Move this over. I'm a little OCD when it comes to organizing stuff, and I'm surprised I never noticed that the face cam is a little off from the pool table. So that should be a little bit more centered now. Jerry Holloway, what is my go-to chalk? These are Predator chalks. But there's nothing wrong with Master chalks because that's what I always used from the get-go. Do you recommend you do a jump ball on an MDF pool table? I don't even know what an MDF pool table is, so I'm not sure how to answer that. But yeah, so like when like I think it was once I started my YouTube channel, that was when like the first time I've ever heard of CTE. So when I started looking it up, and I'm like, okay, this is definitely interesting. How does this actually work? And one, does it work? Because I'm primarily a ghost ball aimer, and lately I've gotten into fractional aiming as well. To where when I do line up a shot, I do check and see where the inside of the cue ball is in relation to the cut. So if I'm cutting to the left, I'm using the left side of the cue ball, and if I'm cutting to the right, I'm using the right side of the cue ball. I do check to see in relation to how full I'm actually hitting the ball. Is it a three-quarter ball hit, half ball hit, or a quarter ball hit, or some variation in between? So that way I can be a little bit more accurate, and because that's pretty much how CTE works is using the quartering of the balls when you line up the inside edge of the cue ball, and then using pivoting to alter the angle of which you're actually shooting. Which tip scuffer do you use? I primarily don't use tip scuffers anymore. With now that I have a breaking cue. I mean, because if I do any type of scuffing, it's going to be with some sort of sandpaper on my lathe. Roofster, what is going on? How often do I shape and scuff my tips? Not very often. Again, because because of how much of a finesse player that I am, I hardly ever hit the cue ball hard. So my tips don't get a whole lot of wear and tear on them. All right, let me scroll back up and see if there's anything that I missed. Nope. All right, so let's actually go do another rack, though. So let's turn that off, or at least remember to turn that off. But this time we're going to put the one ball back on the spot. Eventually, I want to move my computer over to this corner of the room if y'all could still see me on the webcam, because right now I have it sitting next to my lathe. That's why you see my circuit breaker box right behind me. But I only have these two sockets here that I'm going to have to work with. One of them is going to have to be for my computer, obviously, and the other one would have to be for my network connection. Oh, why did the 5-ball have to be in my way? So this is a pretty good spread, right? It's almost like a center of the table drill. Because like from here, I would just stop the cue ball. That way I can use the side rail off of the 3-ball with some right spin to come back to the center of the table for the 5-ball. And notice that I pretty much have a very similar angle, so except I'm not going to get to the center of the table for the 6-ball, obviously. I'm going to want to get somewhere over here. But I don't want to be straight in on the 6-ball. Now from here, I can just have the cue ball go from one side rail to the other. Whoops. Yeah. Too full. This will be with bottom left, so I can come underneath the 9-ball. All right, let's try the same shot again, except we want to avoid the side pocket when we get to the 8-ball. We're going to go from side to side. Last time I hit it too full. That's a little better. And then just try to draw back for the 9-ball. What I missed on the 6-ball, there were, what, 4 balls left on the table, so that'd only be a 5. You guys like trick shots? Who doesn't like trick shots? Robin Barnes, what's going on, bud? Good to see you. Jumping is not illegal as long as you're not scooping the cue ball, meaning that you're putting so much bottom spin that you're basically hitting the felt of the table and the ball at the same time. That's the illegal way to jump. G-Pad, do I use an extension on my cue? Yes, I do have an extension for the Predator. Oh, MDF is a wood surface instead of stone? That's interesting. Okay, so I can answer this. Jay Bird, you do, he knows that I do a lot of tip replacements, so what's my favorite tip? Right, I'm not going to recommend a tip to put on a customer's tip, but I can tell you tips that I like, and if that's what you want to go off of, fine. as long as I'm not put in the position to where like, hey, try this tip out, and you pay me to put this tip on your cue, and then you find out that it's garbage. You know, that's what I don't want to do. So right now, before I got my Revo with the Victory Soft, I was a heavy user of the Kamui Clear mediums. That's what I really, really liked from there. And then once I got my Revo shaft, I went ahead and told myself I'm going to try the tip that it comes with, which is going to be a Victory Soft. And initially, I didn't like it. It didn't feel the same way when I would hit a ball. And what I mean by that is, I don't know if anybody can relate to this, when you hit the cue ball with any of your cues, like if you can feel the vibration go through your arm, that's pretty much what I'm talking about. And when I played with my Kamui medium or Kamui Clear on my Viking, that's what I can feel. And even my Sean had the same effect with the type of tip that's on there, and that's the factory tip. That's on the Sean. I can feel the vibration of the cue hitting the cue ball like trickle through my arm. But with my Revo and the soft tip, I can't feel that anymore. It just doesn't feel the same. So it was something that I definitely had to get used to, and that's why I was overhitting a ball a lot, and I was underhitting a ball for position a lot when I initially got the Revo. Then once I got adjusted to it, now it's just like anything else. Dark Nielsen, I hope I said that right. I'm not sure how to emphasize the B or the J in pronouncing your name. I know we've talked about in the background of possibly doing an 8-ball one and possibly even doing a 10-ball one, but you know that's Bang Time's show. It's really up to him. But we have talked about it. Oh, we are talking about extensions. I also have this extension. This was the first extension that I bought when I got before I got the Predator cue. It's this guy right here. So like it literally can fit on anything. Goes on the butt end of the cue, and then you tighten it up so that way it actually grips the darn thing, and then it can extend even further. So it all depends on how much of an extension that you need. Now I think the extension that I have for my Predator Black is literally about this long, which I think is about 12 inches. But this one extends much further if I needed to do some type of an extension. Except this will fit on anything. The extension that I have is specifically for Predator cues. Yeah, Matthew Kunzman. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the Kamui Clears. I mean, like I initially thought that was going to be the first thing I did to the Revo when I got it was to put a Kamui Clear on it. But I made sure to give the Victory Soft a try, and I don't regret doing that. What do I think of Shane Van Boning's break? I mean, it's an awesome break. What do I think of Skyler's break? It's an awesome break. What do I think of any professional's break? They break awesome because they spend hours upon hours perfecting their breaks. Will I host my own tournament? I've thought about it. It's just like I already know the type of scheduling chaos that Bang Time has to deal with, and I'm not sure if I want to do that. I'm actually doing a tournament right now with my APA league members. I have video footage of them playing matches against each other. I do eventually plan on posting them. And I'll do like some commentary, like I do for my pool review videos. You know, they had the courage enough to allow me to record them and to allow you all to see them play. Right, so you're at least going to get to see what a variety of skill levels play like here in the Central Texas area. That'll be all the way from skill level 2 all the way up to skill level 7. Because I do have one skill level 7. It's going to be quite interesting to watch because a lot of them played completely out of their comfort zone, knowing that there was a camera recording on them, knowing that I was going to put their matches up on YouTube, and the fact that I want to hear some comments on this. They're playing in complete silence. right? So there's no music in my garage unless they were wearing earbuds or something, because they know that I'm putting this on YouTube. So I'm not playing any music for them because I can't have music in the background. So the fact that you don't have the chatter of people talking in the pool room, you don't have the music playing in the background, playing in complete silence was awkward to them. It actually like threw them out of their game to where they felt a little uncomfortable, and it affected their game, which was really interesting to see. Now for me, I'm in my garage all the time making YouTube videos, so I'm actually used to the silence. You foresee a lottery to try and enter bang time pool tournaments with the amount of interest moving forward. So do you mean like we all petition to play, and he'll just draw us out of a hat to see who can play? Because I'm pretty sure he'll have a cap on how many people he's going to want allowed to play. Because like I said, the scheduling nightmare can make the tournament go on forever. So you don't want your tournament to last like 6 months or whatever just to complete. I mean, it's 6 months worth of YouTube content, but I can't imagine dealing with scheduling chaoses for 6 months straight. What about Creative Commons music? I mean, all my players have different tastes in music. So, I mean, I suppose any type of background sound effects probably would have been suffice. But I just didn't want to take any of the chances. That's why I told them to bring headphones or something while they play if they wanted to listen to music. Because I want you all to at least hear any bantering if they do any, plus being able to hear the balls bang around and stuff like that when their match is playing. Well, amateur stroke billiards, I have different plans for live playing now. Now that I've actually experienced with going live and stuff, like every now and again, I might try to get a buddy to come over here and we'll do like an exhibition match, or a cheap gambling set or something for everybody to see. And then plus, if I get back into doing interviews, I'll probably start doing interviews in a live setting now, and not so much a recorded setting. I have plans right now to get Cherivari on a live stream talk where we're just going to sit down over a Zoom meeting or something and just chat with all of y'all being able to talk to us. Jag, how come I don't use the outfill rack? Because it gets more in the way than the magic rack does. I mean, this cloth that you see here it doesn't lay as flat on the table as it should be. You guys see that I pretty much leave the magic rack on the table. So obviously I can take the magic rack off when I'm done breaking. I mean, that really wouldn't be that big of a deal. But that's the main reason. So if I were to, if there's a ball on the magic or on any of these racks, typically I would just leave it alone, but then that means it runs a higher risk of interfering with the balls as they roll around, much like how the magic rack can actually still alter a ball as it rolls across it. But the plastic is at least flatter on the table and doesn't interfere as much as the AccuRacks would. But there's nothing wrong with the AccuRacks. I just use the magic racks more. I do use these from time to time, just not as often as I do the magic racks. All right, I think that's everybody's questions for now. Let's do another rack. And you know what? I do want to change things up. Let's do this. Let's do this view. Like I said, I'll eventually try to fix the lighting so that way the balls are a little bit more distinguishable. But I have that. I have a mount on my wall for that view now, for this side view, so that way I can put a camera up there when I actually do YouTube videos too. So you'll be seeing side views from time to time in future videos. All right, let's see if we can get a break where I don't have to take ball in hand. Oh, so much for that. So if you're asking about like the 3-point rule, for example, you know, I made the wing ball, so that's one. The one ball has crossed the head string, and the 6 ball has crossed the head string. So I satisfy, or I'm in compliance with the 3-point rule. And I think if I'm not in compliance with the 3-point rule, then the opponent will have the option to take the shot or allow the breaker to still take the shot, but they cannot roll out. I think I have that correct. But nobody here in my area really plays by the 3-point rule. Okay, let's see if I can. I think I want to get position for the side pocket. Let's see if I can put some top left on this cue ball. There we go. A little bit more of an angle than I wanted, so I'm just going to try to gently hold the cue ball here. Uh-oh. A little too soft, huh? How many of y'all have done that before? Trying to just baby a ball and it just doesn't even make it to the pocket. Okay, good controlled shot there, going 2 rails for the 8. Now I can just try to draw back a little bit for the 9 because I do have an angle. And just for giggles and grins, we're going to try 4 rails. This is like the Chris Milling shot. And I missed it. Shake the table accidentally with my hips. Yeah, Jaybird, is the turtle rack plastic though? Because again, I would think plastic just lays better on the table than cloth does, like the AccuRacks. Corner 4 Billiards, what is going on, bud? Thanks for stopping by. That is another channel that everybody should go check out for the drills that he has on that one. He just did a really good reversal of the the 2-rail plus system that y'all should go check out. Because, you know, the plus system is designed to go from the side rail to the corner pocket, and he reversed it to where you can go from the corner pocket short rail back to the side pocket. It's actually really, really good. I'm going to have to dissect it and try to remember it. Try an overhead cam angle. Check out my Nick Varner 9-ball drill. You'll see the overhead cam angle. What cue stand do I use? These are just claws. Look like this. So I have 2 of these, 1 for each table, and then there's, if you can see on the webcam there where the jump cue and my bridge is, that's on just a 2 cue claw. G-Man, I mean, if you know what you're looking for, right? If you look at a recording of yourself and you watch yourself play, you have to be able to identify, well, what are you doing wrong, right? Because I would think to yourself, you're not doing anything wrong other than when you miss, right? But if another person that's critiquing you that is of a higher caliber play, they're the ones that probably should be able to tell you, you know, look at how your arm is moving off to the side, or look at your cue twitching at the last second. Like if you look at some of the coaching videos that I've done, those are things that I point out to some of the players, to where I can tell, like, when their elbow starts to drop, they start picking up their cue. These are all little things that I think affect their game in some way, shape, or form, and those are things that they have to work on, so that way you're removing variables of error in your game. And as long as you remove as much of the variables as possible and everything starts to remain consistent, then that's when you start to see the improvements that are in your game. Unless, of course, you don't remove them at all, and then you eventually just get used to them, much like how Efren Reyes and like Francisco Bustamante, they have that up and down motion when they do their practice strokes, and that's like bled into their game, and they shoot with it just fine. Well, backyard billiards, like I said, it's only beneficial if you know what you're supposed to be looking for that you're doing wrong. Otherwise, you're just watching yourself play and you're saying to yourself, "Oh, I missed that shot," or "Oh, I missed that shot." There's really not a whole lot of self-critiquing that you can do if you don't know what to look for that you're supposed to be improving on. Because if you break and run a rack, right, you're going to think that you did nothing wrong. But if you ask someone else to watch you break and run a rack, they might pinpoint something that, even though you were successful at running the rack, you're not aware of a little bad habit that's in your game somewhere. And that's what the third person can shed some light on. Jag, as far as I know, you're correct. The plastic ones, like my Magic racks, will wear out before the AccuRacks do. That's why I do try to alternate between using them. Was there anything that I missed? Doesn't look like it. Have I played with the new 4th generation Aramith Duramith balls, either black or regular? Any thoughts on them? I have plans on either getting the new Aramith black balls, or I was going to get, I think it was the Predator Acros, because I have all Predator products. So I mean, I like my stuff to match. So I'm just torn between which ones that I want to try. I do have, however, though, this ought to, because I do eventually plan on making a video on this. So I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this. Tristan, this ought to make you smile. But let's see what that looks like on camera. Yeah, you can see that just fine. These are regulation balls. You can see they are of the same size. These are not actually snooker balls, but these are regulation pool balls of a snooker set. And I do eventually plan on making a video playing snooker on my 8-foot pool table. But I've yet to use these. I've had them for quite a while. I just haven't used them yet. Do I read manga or watch anime? I haven't read any manga, but I do watch some anime from time to time. What's the last anime that I just got done watching? There was one on Netflix called Parasite. They only have one season right now. I really enjoyed watching that. Um, and the other one before that that I really enjoyed watching was the Seven Deadly Sins. Why not get some English pool balls? I mean, if they're just smaller, I don't see how it's any different than a regular rack of 8 ball. It's just that what it's red versus yellow and then a black. To me, it's the same thing, other than they might be a little bit smaller. That's the same question of why didn't I just get real snooker balls? The balls that I have here are not real snooker balls because they're regulation pool balls. All right, let's go try another rack. Everybody think of some questions to ask. Hope everybody's been having a fantastic week and is ready for the weekend, because I know I am. Yeah, so see, interestingly enough, right here, I don't satisfy the three-point rule. I had a ball go into the corner pocket, but no other balls crossed the head string. So right now, my opponent would have the option to shoot or make me shoot, and I cannot roll out. I am going to try to run this out with no ball in hand. I'm going to see if we can get position for the 2 ball to go into the same corner pocket. Ooh, used all that pocket. And as long as I'm not straight in, which I'm not, push the cue ball to the side rail and back out for position on the 4. And there, you see how the magic rack can still interfere, even though I left it, because it actually settled in one of the holes. And it really gets in the way. So if I really wanted to resolve it, I pretty much should remove the magic rack or the AccuRack after I get done breaking. But here I don't have a shot, so like if this were a real match, I'd probably try to play a safety. Try to do something like this, maybe. And there, we have a bit of a safety. I know someone asked earlier, how often do I practice safeties? And not really that often if I'm playing by myself. And then someone asked me about jump shots, so now we're going to actually get to see a jump shot, other than when I was just doing demonstrations. Oh. Ah. And fortunately, these balls are very durable because I've had that happen plenty of times, and they come back unscathed. Actually, how did that sound with the cue ball bouncing on the floor? Give me an idea of what all the different acoustics sound like in here. Lots of draw shots. And finally, I can just roll the cue ball. But really, I don't see a difference between the AccuRack and the Magic Rack other than durability. I think that's the biggest separation between the two. They both serve the same purpose. Sounded like Alicia Murphy's. Lots of people hit the cue ball off the table. Three cushion inserts actually used to exist. I've found some YouTube videos of them, but I don't know anybody that still makes them, because I would love to put three cushion inserts on my table and play three cushion pool here at my table, because that's a really fun game that I do enjoy playing. John Walsh just racked 6 balls in the red triangle, and then instead of okay, I mean, I could try that, but I'm going to try the full set when I eventually get around to doing it, just to see how, because yeah, I understand that it's probably going to be a little bit more cluttered than expected, but I mean, I'm at least going to try the full set. Let's see here. I mean, G-Man, I've spoken to Jim about some other rules, but it's a matter of still making the rules to where the people that have entered are willing to enter, and I think that's the right way to go. You don't want to make the rules so hard. Like, we wouldn't want to implement the 3-point rule, but we don't want soft breaking either. We allow the ball in hand after the break, or if the scratch on the break is not considered a loss. Like, there's plenty of different variations that you can do to make it a little bit harder. But for a fun tournament like this, it's just not necessary. Especially if some of the players just aren't equipped like other players. Like, I know some of the players that were in the first tournament, they didn't have magic racks. So can you imagine, like, it's an instant loss of rack if you don't make a ball on the break and you don't have a magic rack? Sounded like M80 firecrackers when it hit the floor. Okay, I have to remember that. So at least now I know what it sounds like. I know what a miscue sounds like. Jump shots sound okay. The breaking sounds okay. But when the cue ball hits the floor, it sounds like an M80 firecracker. I mean, clearly there are things that we can add to the rules. It's that will just make it more difficult. But at this low, and I don't want to use low like I'm insulting, but I would say at this level of an amateur tournament, I just don't think it's necessary to increase the level of difficulty. Scrolling back, G-Man, the black is hard to pick up on during matches. That is actually a problem that Charivari is actually getting on his latest pool series. He has received complaints to get a different set of balls because it's actually hard to distinguish the color of the balls, even with his wonderful production value that he has. And as far as I know, he is looking at getting them replaced. Nick G, I think the particular rack pattern would probably be good. But again, it's Bang Time Show. He's the one that has to come up with it because, if it eliminates the possibility of a player using the same rack all the time. Like when I rack, I always at least do 192 in a straight line, and then the other six could be completely randomized, right? So I try not to pattern rack, but I know I watched a virtual tournament where a specific pattern rack was given to the players, and if you don't abide by that, it's basically a loss of rack kind of thing. And and the rack was completely randomized. So that way, the actual professional players that were in that style of tournament just weren't familiar with the spread that they would get because they would know that certain balls will end up in certain locations because of the way that you would typically rack. But then once you randomize where the balls are at, then you're getting completely different run-out patterns. So it makes it a little bit more difficult. But again, it's just for something like this, I just don't think it's absolutely necessary. I'm pretty sure as time goes by, the level of difficulty may increase. But again, that's up to Bang Time. Yeah, Jay Bird, I think that's the issue that Charivari is currently having because he does. I like the dark setting that he has in all of his old videos and even in his current pool studio or that he has in his home. I wish I could actually pull off something very similar, but it is what it is. But he is, like I said, he is having some difficulties, or some of his viewers are having difficulties with the Aramith black balls in his dark setting. The pink and purple balls mess you up. It took some getting used to because I remember when what was it? I think the four ball used to be a pink ball in one of the TV table like when pool was on ESPN. The four used to be pink. It was the five ball when the five ball became purple, which used to be the Aramith four ball. That was what confused me a lot. But I know pink used to be a ball. I'm pretty sure it used to be the four ball, and now it's the four ball again in the Aramith Black set. All right, let me go try another rack. Let me try to play this one a little bit more seriously. Ah, all right. So much for that. I thought I was going to start with no ball in hand. All right, so we look and see where the 2 ball is in relation to the 3 ball. So clearly I want to get somewhere over here, but I don't want to get straight in because then getting position on the 3 ball is going to be difficult. So what I will attempt to do, this is one of the racks I actually had an issue with in my last match. I'm playing a follow shot, and I don't want to get straight in on the object ball. And in my last match, I did get straight in on the object ball, and it ruined my entire run. So here, I definitely want to try to make sure that I hit the side rail and then come off of it like that. So that way I have an angle. Now I can just try to stun over for position on the 3. Now on this one here, I can just roll the 3-ball. I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to run into the 9-ball, but I should be okay if I do. Yeah, see, ran into the 9-ball like I thought. A little straight in, so I just need to make sure I draw past the 9-ball. Oh gosh, that was great. And you even saw me chalk. But that tells me I must have dipped down at the last second when I did that. So it's probably time to change these chalks because these chalks are pretty worn. All right, let's see if I can do this and keep the cue ball on the table. Hallelujah! There's something for y'all to laugh at. I hope to see a bunch of crap in the chat about how good of a shot that was. My goodness. I just gotta make sure I finish the rack. How many of y'all have done that? You make a great shot like that, I'm gonna have to bridge over the 9-ball, but then you miss the most easiest shot after that. After you make a great shot, you miss the easy one. now I can't do anything here. I just have to make the 8-ball and get have a hard position on the 9-ball. All right, let's see here. Yeah, all right, that was a good rack. PZ27, can you help me pool table lessons? Just go through my YouTube channel. I've got plenty of videos that go through some of the basic mechanics of playing pool, how to aim, how to do some bank shots, how to do jump shots. I have some videos where I play up against the ghost, so you can actually see me do some pattern plays. I post my APA matches on my channel as well, so that way you actually get to see some live play of me, so you can see me messed up just like how you've seen me messed up here tonight. There's plenty of information on my or plenty of demonstrations on my channel that should be able to help you out as far as expanding your knowledge at the game, because it's still going to be up to you to get onto the table and try to practice what you've learned from my videos or anybody else's videos or anything that you would have read. CVM Den 23.1. The audio isn't going to be as great as my YouTube videos because I'm using a Bluetooth earpiece, just Bluetooth to my computer, and I'm in a garage. Plus, this earpiece only goes so far to my mouth. Where in my YouTube videos, you actually see me with a headset, and the microphone is like right in front of my mouth. And that headset is Bluetooth to an actual digital recorder. And that's why the audio just sounds so much more crisp in my YouTube videos versus my live videos. So for now, this is pretty much what I've got that I can actually do, because I'm not going to wear like a whole bunch of gear on me just to be able to get some great audio. I have the possibility of maybe trying to put a microphone above my pool table, but then that's going to require me to run some cables and stuff to the computer that I use for live streaming. So it just requires a whole lot more setup. So with what I've got, this is what I have to work with. Okay, Will J. Cuts, I mean, your YouTube channel or your YouTube tag name says PZ27. That's why I referred to you as PZ27. So it sounds better when I do speak softly. So at the very least, I can probably tweak this a little bit then. Try to turn this down a bit. Because I am not a Twitch live streamer and stuff. They've already got all this stuff figured out. I had a viewer last time that was supposed to help me with some settings and stuff, but he's really busy with some stuff that he's working on. He's eventually supposed to either help me figure out how to fine tweak my OBS settings to get the audio better. But until then, it is what it is. I mean, as long as you can comprehend what I'm saying, and I don't sound like I'm talking on a walkie-talkie or something, but it is what it is. So CVM Den 23.1, you missed the conversation on that. To me, they're both the same. It's just that the AccuStats rack are just more durable. I have both the Magic Rack and the AccuRacks, and I use them both evenly. I just prefer the Magic Racks because they lay flatter on the table. Because usually after I break, I'll leave it on the table. So clearly, if I wanted to develop a better habit, regardless of which rack I use, I would just take the rack off the table after I break. But if a ball does end up on the rack, it's just my opinion that the Magic Rack is less in the way until you get that ball off of the rack than the AccuRacks, because the cloth doesn't lay completely flat onto the table. Joe's Pool School. I mean, if you know some stuff on how to tweak OBS and whatnot, that'd be great. We could probably set up some time offline here to just give me some pointers on how to tweak the settings and stuff. Because the only thing I have after this, because I have a MacBook Pro, was to get the Apple AirPod Pros. But this is a Plantronics earpiece, which is supposed to be one of the most recommended Bluetooth pieces to actually have. And actually, one of the tournament players, Ron Johnson, he was using this exact same piece in his match, and I thought his audio sounded wonderful. But he was playing, I think, in his basement or his living room or something that just has better acoustics than my garage. Because I am in my garage, so you have to take that into consideration of how the audio might actually sound. Do I think carbon fiber is worth it? I mean, I shoot with carbon fiber, so I mean, I'm not going to tell you no, it's not worth it. I shot with plenty of wooden cues before that, but now that I've gotten carbon fiber, it's great. Everybody, look who's here! Cherivari, how you doing, bud? Is it? Have you gone to bed yet, or are you just waking up? But what did we say last time? It was 7 hours, so it's What, is it 4 a.m. over there? Or 4:20 over there? Blaze it. Yeah, so from what I'm hearing, at least, it sounds better than my last live stream, and that's pretty much what I'm looking for. Is just these baby steps of improving the audio of the stream. It's not like I'm a jump from amateur to expert in in one leap. You're still working, so what shot are you on for your series? Clearly, Share Vary does not need an introduction here on my channel. I assume that everybody that watches me probably watches him as well, and he's doing this wonderful series right now where every day he's posting a new video, and each one of those videos is just completely awesome. No, I appreciate that, Share Vary, because I, of all people, know how long that rendering process can be. Ooh, jumping the object ball over another object ball in the pocket. That's going to be a fun video to watch. I'm only assuming that you have slight elevation on the cue ball. That way the cue ball can hit the top of the object ball to cause the object ball to jump into the air over another object ball. Or at least something like that. CBM Den 23-1, whatever comes on the BK Rush, I think it's some sort of hybrid tip. I'm going to have to look it up. Let me see here. Pool cues. Predator break. I think the BK Rush has come with some sort of hybrid tip. Yeah, according to Sieberts, it's the BK hybrid tip. That's what comes on it. I mean, Jay Bird, it is 420 where Share Vary's at. I'm pretty sure he's tired as much as if he was blazing it. I mean, doing a video every single solitary day, and mind you, these are short videos that he's doing, right? So like these videos are anywhere from 10 minutes on less, and I guarantee you he's not spending just 10 minutes just to make the video. And to do that on an everyday basis, that's some commitment right there. You definitely have to give respect for that. Michael Frazier, I'm in Texas. I'm not from Texas. I was actually born in Germany because my dad was in the military, but I was pretty much raised in Texas. Okay, so is that like the actual spelling of your name, Camden? I'm assuming that's how you would pronounce it if you phonetically spelt it out? Do I recommend us popping the cue ball off of the head ball on the break? No. And just because the pros do it doesn't mean anything. Again, unless you plan on spending countless hours repetitiously trying to be able to accurately pop the cue ball into the air and have it accurately land back onto the table to have an accurate shot at the opening ball, then sure, go ahead and do it. But otherwise, in my opinion, it's just not necessary. Camden, so on my playing cue, the Predator Revo shaft came with a Victory soft tipped. So I didn't change anything. The only thing I changed on my shooting cue was that I made sure that it was a 19.5-ounce cue, because that's what I do prefer to shoot with as far as weight is concerned. Do I speak a little German? No. Or is it? That's Russian. I was going to say niet. I don't even know how to say no in German because I was only a baby still. I my father was finally stationed at Fort Hood I think around when I was 4 years old, and then pretty much been here ever since. Who do you think is better, Shane Van Boening or Earl Strickland? Well, was it Nine? Is that how do you pronounce it? Nine? Well, that's not a fair question to ask, right? Do you want me to say Earl Strickland? Do you want me to do a comparison of Earl Strickland in his prime or as is? Right? Otherwise, it wouldn't be a very fair comparison. I mean, I wouldn't say that I didn't like the Predator Victory Soft when I first started using it. It was just different. It didn't feel the same way when I was actually hitting the cue ball. So it just took some getting used to. And once I started getting used to it, I really, really like it. All right, things have slowed down a bit. Let's go do another rack. After that last rack where I actually successfully made a jump shot and was able to still run the table. All because of a miscue. Okie doke. Let's try not to miscue again, though. Well, there's a good break. Okay, so let's try no ball in hand. This is going to be difficult to avoid the 5 and the 9 in order to get position on the 3, but we're going to try it anyways. Otherwise, ball in hand position would be just to start here or here, shoot the 2 in either of the side pockets for automatic position on the 3. But let's see if I can do this. And to the 9, not really that big of a deal unless the 9 gets in the way. Oh my goodness. I think the 9 is in the way. Well, no, not really. This is just a more difficult shot than it needs to be. We're going to try it anyways. See if I can not touch the 9. Oh, I clipped it. All right. And actually, in a position like this, I'm going to want to clip it again so I can get it off the rail. There we go. Try a bank shot here. Nope, too much throw. I did put some right spin on that one. I put too much on it. Ugh. No draw on that one. Come on. I think I'm going to scratch if I try to cut that. See if I can kick it in. Oh, I missed it altogether. There we go. When will the stream end? When I get tired. I mean, I'm holding 60 of y'all at least are being entertained. So as long as questions are coming and stuff, and I'm not tired because I started the stream rather early today, especially since it's the weekend. So I have fun with this. You know, you guys get to see me play for real now. So when I make mistakes on camera for y'all to see, it allows me to be more comfortable. Because when I was playing in the tournament, that was the first thing that was basically plaguing my mind is the expectation of the viewers to be able to critique how I actually play in a live setting, knowing that because of what I've at least shown on my YouTube videos so far, even though I have my APA matches and those are live, but they're recorded live, I guess, but to me, it's not the same thing as actually playing live for a live audience. So I had a lot of nerves in me when I was playing live in my first match on Bang Time's tournament. My second match, I was a little bit more relaxed, and the more I do this, the more relaxed I start to get, especially when you actually get to see the real human side of me of missing shots, miscuing, you know, et cetera, et cetera. Hey, Devin, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Is jumping the cue ball on the break practical? All that is the question that's being asked is when you break a certain way, you can actually get the cue ball to pop into the air, and that's because that the cue ball is already off of the table when it strikes the head ball. Like, you know, because if it were on the table surface, it's not going to leave the surface of the table. But when you actually see the cue ball pop into the air, is by the time it hits the head ball, it's already like just slightly off of the table to begin with. And so when it strikes the rack, it just lifts straight up into the air and then comes off, and then comes back down onto the table. So it's a very common thing you see done by professionals because they break rather hard. Oh, actually, Nick, that's a good point. Whenever this battery dies is probably when that would be the hard cutoff for when the stream would end. But my last stream, I think, was almost 3 hours. So, I mean, if I wanted to keep an average, then I'd probably keep it around the same. I do have a brand new Bowflex sitting in my living room waiting to be put together, which I do plan on putting that together tonight. So that way I can really get back into working out. Camden, do I think the Magic Rack affects the roll of the ball? Yes, both the Magic Rack and the AccuRack do that. It really doesn't matter. I can show you. They're both going to have very similar effects. So for one, I'm not sure if you can tell on the webcam, but the front end of the AccuRack and the back end of the AccuRack are lifted up off of the table. So that's more of an interference than the Magic Rack, because the Magic Rack is more flatter. So if I were to try to gently push the cue ball down the line of the Magic Rack, you can see how the effect that it has on it. And if I try to do the same thing with the AccuRack, you see how it has the same effect. All right, so they both do the same. They both do the same exact thing. But if you can look and see, this is the only reason why I prefer the Magic Rack over the AccuRack. I'm not entirely sure how much you can see this on that webcam that's up there. It's just because that the Magic Racks can lay flatter onto the table. So that's why a good rule of thumb would be to make sure that after you break, move them off the table, and then you don't have to worry about that. Do I still use the Total Gym? I haven't used it. I used it for a good about a good month, but then it just wasn't enough. I'm actually going to be giving it to my sister now that I have my Bowflex. So I just keep up making all the excuses that I need to make to when it's time for me to go to the gym, I don't go to the gym. So now that I have my Bowflex, once I get it put together, my lunch breaks, since I work from home, I can just waltz right into my living room, do a good exercise set, and then go back to work. That might be something Chervary and I can talk about. We can do some sort of, virtual match in the future. The first thing we agreed to do sometime here in the near future is we're just going to get on a Google Hangout or a Zoom meeting, and we're just going to do a live chat, and we're going to have all you guys, to ask us questions and stuff, and that should be a lot of fun. But I already admitted on my last live stream that I'm man enough to admit that I think Chervary would take me. I'm pretty sure I could probably beat him in a couple of racks, but in the long run, I think he does have the advantage. Jaybird, so you can iron the AccuRacks. So I mean, I guess I can give that a try. Devin, my next match is this coming Tuesday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Can you still use the Magic Rack with cheap pool balls? I mean, why wouldn't you be able to? If you're wondering about cheap pool balls, is because how are they going to react? Like, just ask yourself, if you use cheap pool balls on a regular rack, how do they respond? They're probably still going to respond just as similar if they're on a Magic Rack. It's just that it's still going to be, quote unquote, a perfect rack. Camden, that is true. Over time, the plastic will wear out with the Magic Racks, and that's why the AccuRacks are supposed to be better, because they're more durable. They will last longer. Roger, Scott, Kathy, I'm pretty sure like eventually something's going to come up with all of us YouTubers doing some sort of collab. Every now and again. I mean, like Raleigh Williams and Dr. Dave, they already did a collab that was really cool. I just did a lighthearted collab with Dr. Dave's birthday because I did a video where he was doing a frozen 3-ball challenge, and he demonstrated different ways to make the balls in a particular order, and some of them were with foul shots and some of them were with legal shots, because it was the 1-ball, 2-ball, and the 1-ball, the 9-ball, and I think the 3-ball, and you had to pocket the 1-ball by itself, the 3-ball by itself, the 9-ball by itself, the 1 and the 9, the 1 and the 3, the 3 and the 9, and the 1, 3 and the 9. So his challenge was to try to pocket them all on legal hits. And I eventually figured it out, and I made a video about it. And then so when I did my little collab video on his birthday, I just put his video and my video side by side of each of us executing all of the shots. XT Bum, what are the other causes of you miscuing when you're hitting the draw shot? Even though you do chalk up, chances are you're probably dipping your cue at the last second before you even realizing it. So you're hitting lower than expected and actually scooping the cue ball off the table. Happy I caught your stream tonight. Ever played Rory Hendrickson? I'm sorry, I don't know who that is, so I'm going to say no. Give me wooden racks. I'm assuming that's supposed to say traditionalist. Isn't the word purist? I think that I heard that's why, like the purist pool players don't like jump cues. They'd rather you kick at a ball. Well, Devin, the tightening of the grip is also going to cause your cue to twitch down, because when you think about it, when your hand squeezes, that means you're going to be clinching up, and when you're clinching up, your cue is going to go down. So that's going to be possibly a cause of his cue going down, causing the miscue. Oh, is Rory Hendrickson Shane Van Boning's mentor? I did not know that. Have I tried the turtle rack? No, I have not. I do not own one. I may eventually pick up one because I do have this rack here. This is the Delta 13 Elite. This is actually what was used at the Texas State Open when I posted my 2 Texas State Open matches where I got destroyed by both of my players. I went ahead and even had this one personalized. So I had my pool channel or YouTube channel engraved on this, and so from time to time I will be using this rack so I can practice with not using magic racks and still be hopefully being able to pocket a ball and be able to run the table. So I'm sorry, I don't want to miscall your name again. Just a second. So Will J. Cuts. I don't know if you're asking how long is my table or how long I've been playing pool. So I'm going to answer both of them. My table is an 8-foot table, and I've been playing pool for 20, what is it? I started when I was 17, and now I'm 40. So that's what, 20, going on 23, 24 years now? Yeah, Camden, if you're talking about the Delta 13 Elites, they're not cheap. That's for sure. John Walsh, I'm not too familiar with all of the snooker rules, but I think you are correct that you're not allowed to jump. You can massé, but I do believe snooker does not allow jumping. All right, let's try another rack. And this time, if taking ball in hand is more advantageous of me running out, then I'm going to do that. Share Very, if you're still there, tell me about those. How do you like those diamond slicers that you have on your table? Because I have thought about purchasing some. Do they actually help with having a visual indicator of like how far you're hitting in between each of the diamonds, especially if you're doing like bank shots or kick shots or something? This break satisfies the 3-point rule. Okay, so we do need the setup for the 2-ball in the side pocket. That's why I have a bit of an angle here on the 1-ball. So I would have liked to have been right here. That way I can just push to the side rail and back out, so I didn't actually hit it hard enough. So I guess I can try to kill the angle off of the rail with a lot of right spin and see if I can still get on the good side of the 3-ball. Kind of like that. The problem now is the 5-ball though. Because I can push forward into the 8-ball. If I can push forward enough to clip the 8-ball, that would be ideal. Kind of like that, but then I missed the shot. So one thing a lot of people don't realize is they would say to themselves that they messed up on the 3-ball. What I'm going to tell you is I messed up on the 1-ball because I didn't get the position that I wanted on the 2-ball. That's where my mistake was. If I would have made the 3 and still got out, I mean, that's a different story. But my mistake was not because I missed the 3-ball. My mistake was because of how I played position on the 2-ball. So, because I've said before about how you need to be aware of what the mistake was in your game, so that way you know how to fix it. And a lot of times, players will just say, "Well, I just missed the ball." And I was like, "Well, no, it's more. There's more to it than that. You didn't just miss the ball, or you didn't just miss the ball that you were currently on. You missed the setup for the ball that you were currently on." At least I hit it. So if you're not aware of the mistakes that you're actually making at the table other than just missing a ball, that's, in my opinion, preventing you from getting better. You can't just say to yourself, well, it's because I missed. Don Parrish, my table is a standard table. I do have plans on getting when I get my table refelted, I purchased some extra shims so that way I can have my pockets pro cut. Okay, Cherry, thanks for that. I appreciate that. Well, Camden, I mean, just because diamond slicers aren't on tables in bars and in tournaments, most tournaments and bars aren't going to have magic racks either. So by your logic, should I stop using the magic rack? I mean, this is my home setup, right? Yeah, Silver. My sound isn't going to be as crisp as my YouTube videos, primarily because of this Bluetooth earpiece that I'm using for that's Bluetooth to my computer. Just over the course of time, I do try to improve the audio, and from what I've been told, the audio is better than last time. So hopefully the next time I do a live stream, I've got some people that are going to help me out to tweak some of the software that I use to see if I can get the audio to be better again. Roger Scott Kathy, when you're asking share a very winded three balls hitting a rail stop being a legal break? Well, I mean, I know in APA league and most other leagues, it's for a 9-ball, it's 4 balls, not including the cue ball, unless you're referring to the 3-point rule. The 3-point rule is getting 3 balls to cross the head string on the break, unless you do a combination of making balls plus getting balls across the head string. So in other words, if you make 1 ball on the break, then you need at least 2 balls to cross the head string. If you make 2 balls on the break, then you need 1 ball to cross the head string. That way it's considered to be a legal break according to the 3-point rule system, or the 3-point rule. And if you're not in compliance with the 3-point rule, then your opponent will have an option to come to the table and shoot, or they can still let you shoot because you might be hooked. And if you're hooked, you cannot roll out if your break was not compliant with the 3-point rule. So Roger, it's still legal. It's still legal. It's only not legal if the tournament slash game that you're playing has the 3-point rule in effect. It won't matter if you hit 4 balls. If 4 balls hit a rail, if 3 balls did not cross the head string, then that is not in compliance with the 3-point rule. Tristan, it doesn't matter what bridge you use to break as long as you're breaking with control. Most players that break with an open bridge can't break with control, so that's why I would recommend that they use a closed hand bridge, primarily because they'll end up lifting the cue off of their hand. But if you can break with control with an open hand bridge, I mean, I can break with control with an open hand bridge, so there's nothing wrong with it. Jared Newman, at this time, I'm not really accepting any more new submissions to review. But in the future, just look up my Facebook page, Little Chris Pool Player, and that's where primarily you would upload it to your YouTube channel, and you can upload it privately or publicly or whatever. But then I would just need a link to be able to view the videos, so that way I can download it and then be able to watch it and edit it, et cetera, et cetera. But at the moment right now, I'm not accepting any new videos until I catch up on the ones that I have backed up. Camden, if you want to make your pockets smaller without having to redo the entire table, because like right now, when my table gets refelted, the guy that's going to refelt my table is also going to install these shims that I have into my pockets. I don't know how well this is going to show up on camera, but these right here, so that way the pockets can become smaller, but that's when the whole table gets redone. Otherwise, you can go on Amazon and purchase some pocket reducers. They're not the greatest because they have the spring that holds the padding together will be over the table. I actually have some, and I'll eventually do a video for them. But I can show you what I'm talking about. Sign in. Just a second, everybody. There we go. Copy. And here. And paste. So I just posted in the chat the link to the pocket reducers that you can also use. Who is the next person to be reviewed? I think his YouTube channel name is the Q Sports Vlog, and then after him is Corner for Billiards. Andy K, do I think I won't even say just Predator. Let's just say carbon fiber in general, right? Because Predator is not the only one that does carbon fiber. Everybody's doing it nowadays. Will they eventually, flood out the market and then wooden shafts will go bye-bye? I'm probably going to say no. I think for the most part, lots of players still like to play with wooden shafts. It's not like there's anything wrong with them. But the popularity of them will obviously increase. But I think for the most part, most beginning pool players, they're going to start with a wooden shaft cue, and then they're either going to just stick with it as a purist / traditionalist, or they'll probably eventually upgrade to a carbon fiber shaft. Well, Camden, of course, they don't play like a normal rail because it's just artificial. It's just something just to make the pocket a little bit smaller. Because theoretically speaking, when you think about it, as long as you're trying to aim at the center of the pocket, then it doesn't matter how big the pocket is, right? The only reason why you want to have a tighter pocket is because you want to get rid of being reliant on hitting the rail first before the ball goes in. And the tighter the pocket is, the more accurate that you have to be. So if you can always aim for the center of the pocket, it's not really going to matter the width of the pocket. But the pocket reducers at least give you that smaller target that you have to aim for. Yeah, Aventur, in a couple of hours, expect to see the next share of video be recommended to you. The man is pulling an all-nighter. Tristan, you should have heard me talk about that before as far as Q-tips are concerned. I mean, there's no reason for me to make a recommendation for any type of tip because I'm pretty sure anybody can recommend any tip, and then someone else could say that, well, that tip is garbage. So it's just a matter of find the tip that you end up liking, and that's the one that you're going to go for. So, for example, I'm going to say that the Predator Victory Soft is a good tip to use because that's the tip that I use. And I know there's already somebody in here that said that they started with the Predator Victory Soft, but they switched to the Kamui Soft because they didn't like the Predator Victory. So it's an arbitrary question to actually ask unless you just want to know what someone's preference is. XT Bum, I don't believe snooker cues are one-piece cues. They do come in two pieces. I actually know a buddy of mine actually owns a snooker cue. Corner for Billiards, I have a Viking cue. I've got a Viking VM8 from the old Millennium series, and I have a Viking, I think it's a VM23, and I converted it to a jump break cue. All right, I'm going to go do another rack. We're almost coming up on 3 hours here, so I might end up cutting the stream here pretty soon. But I do appreciate everybody stopping by and watching. Nice that I actually had that one rack where I successfully made a jump shot and ran the rest of the table. All right, so this break doesn't satisfy the 3-point rule because only one ball across the head string plus me pocketing a ball. It's a legal break, but it just doesn't satisfy the 3-point rule if that was in effect. So with this opening shot, I just set up a small angle so that way I can stun the cue ball over for the 2-ball. So I have enough of an angle here that I'm going to actually come to the side rail and draw it back for the 3 on the side instead of trying to go from the side rail over to this side rail. Ooh, I might have overhit it though, so I might be going to the corner pocket. Yep. So now my cue ball will go off to this side rail and come back over here for a position on the 4. They hit that a little soft. This really thin cut shot on the 4-ball. So I'm probably going to try to use a little bit of left spin to kind of kill the angle off of the short rail as it comes back up for the 6. There we go. But I actually hit that one too soft like I did before. Right, here I can try to draw to the side rail. I'd like to stay above the 8, so I want to make sure that I don't accidentally draw underneath it and then get hooked by it. And I have to stretch, so this time I'll use a bridge. Last time I used my extension. I'm going to slightly draw this down. When you're using a bridge, you don't want to try to apply a lot of draw like this because I'm elevated, because I could end up just scooping the cue ball. You just want to use just enough for what you need. Here I can try to draw back to the side rail. There we go. Let's see here. So we got a lot of conversations here. Oh, for the breaking cues, you like the white diamond tips? Where are mine at? I know I have some. Oh, there we go. I'll lose them though. Because these are fairly popular once I bought some and put them on some of my local players' playing cues. You know, the white diamonds. Not entirely sure what material this is actually made out of, because this certainly isn't leather. But I haven't had any. I think I only had one person that actually didn't like the white diamond tip when I put it on his cue. Everybody else loves them. And then I know a lot of players seem to like these clear, bulletproof tips, where they're actually see-through all the way through. These are pretty cool. You got me, Walden. So yeah, so we got Walden, Big A Walden. He actually is one of my APA team members, and his son is now using the brake cue that has the white diamond tip on it, and as he upgraded to a Lucasi jump brake cue. I do know that he wants me to put a white diamond tip on there eventually, which I will do. A-Train, what's going on? Another one of my fellow Texans. Hey, Corner for Billiards, thanks for stopping by, bud. Have a good night. Really? The white diamond is phenolic? I guess I need to look it back up again. I didn't think this was phenolic because it felt more like when I'm cutting it, it felt more like clayish than phenolic. Because there's nothing on the label that signifies what it is, because it just says White Diamond Ultra by Joseph Lecone for jump brake cues, and that's it. I did not know these were of a phenolic-like material, because like I said, they don't feel like it when I'm cutting them. You have to have a specialized brake cue, or can you convert any old playing cue? I mean, no, you don't have to have a specialized brake cue. I mean, any cue can serve as really a brake cue. But pool cues to me are no different than golf clubs, right? I mean, golf clubs are made for certain things. You know, you have your driver, you have all your irons, you have your putter, you have your sand wedge, your pitching wedge, et cetera, and they're all designed specifically to do what they're designed to do. So when you do have specialty cues, they're designed with the correct type of wood or the correct type of carbon fiber, the correct thickness of the shaft, the correct weight, et cetera, all to make whatever it is that they're designed to do easier to do. So the only real advantage that you're supposed to have from at least having a brake cue is to allow the longevity of your playing cue, the tip on your playing cue, to last as long as it needs to last before you end up having to replace it. TBZ, Tango Bravo Zulu. Yes, as far as I know, at least here in the Central Texas area, APA leagues have resumed. I know some states, I think, still have them shut down, and that's just unfortunate. Hey, good job on your mini slam patch, A-Train. Yeah, Camden, the Samsara tips are usually the most highly recommended tips as far as a tip that you can use to break with and even play with. Anytime that I've asked that question, I always hear the Samsara is the one to use. let's go do one more rack, and we'll do it from this side. And we'll do a couple more questions, and I think we'll call it a night. All right. Well, I would have liked to have not taken ball in hand, but I'm going to. And because of where the two ball is at, I have to have this type of a cut angle on the one ball so that way I can drive the cue ball into the short rail and have it come back up. The question is do I want to land over here or somewhere over here for position on the two ball? Five ball there makes it more difficult, so maybe it's better to try from this side instead. I just have to worry about trying not to run into the one ball, the four ball, or I mean, sorry, the four ball, the eight ball, or the nine ball. Okay, so if we look where the three ball is at, we can't shoot it into that corner pocket because of the six ball, so I do have to try to come around it on the other side, so I am going to be drawing off of the two ball. Don't have to bridge over the six, please. That makes things a little bit more difficult. Because ideally, I would like to just draw the cue ball back. We're going to try it anyway. Ah! Didn't even get lucky. All right, let's see if I can kick this guy in. All right, at least hit it. Maybe a wired combination. Nope. Okay, we're going to try to bank it. Do I have another jump shot? I do. This one's tougher than the last one because the nine ball being there. I actually think I can't make it if I'll hit the nine ball. Yeah, I think if I would have tried to make that, I would have hit the nine ball. Oh, but I got lucky. I made a ball. So these are always a little difficult to do, to try to zigzag the cue ball with inside spin to get closer to the five ball. Especially if you undercut the ball. Very appropriate rack to end the stream on with a bunch of misses. Oof. Go back down here. I babied that one. So does anybody remember where my mistake was that originated in this rack? Because it wasn't because I missed. It wasn't because I missed the ball. Oh, at least I'm consistent. There we go. A scratch? No. Yeah, so I mean, I missed the 3 ball because I had bad position from the 2 ball, where I had to jack up over the 6 ball in order to try to make it. That was basically the mistake. Yep, that's right, Tango Bravo Zulu. That's where the mistake was. You know, if I would have made the 3 ball, then you know, cool. But the fact that I missed the 3 ball isn't just the mistake as to why I couldn't finish that rack. It's the shot before that I have to fix. Okay, Joe. I'll be sure to get a hold of him to be able to contact you. So if we're still able to improve the audio of the stream with the equipment that I got, then that's going to be outstanding. Sheriff Very, you have a good night, bud. I'm looking forward to your next video. Can I make a pull stick? No, I cannot. I'm the lathe equipment that I have here allows me to replace tips, clean the shafts. I can attempt to put a wrap on the butt of a cue, like a linen wrap, but I've never tried that. Thanks, Jay Bird. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm going to be calling it quits here soon. I'm just going to chat with you guys for a bit because I'm done playing pool for the night. Sure, Tango Bravo Zulu. What's your question? Okay, you're having a bear of a time with your grip hand, meaning Devin, I haven't tried a Synergy shaft yet. I can't imagine it being that much different than the Revo. I'm pretty sure each carbon fiber variation from different product makers probably has some sort of variation to them that might make them feel a little different, but I can't imagine them being like drastically different, especially in regards to whatever tip might be on them. So I'm fairly confident saying that they probably all feel rather similar. Do you use a set position or a set grip for hand alignment? I'm not entirely sure what you mean by that, but what I can attempt to do is this. So, typically speaking, I do try to be anywhere towards the wrap. Every now and again, I might be way back here, especially if I'm stretching across the table. But typically speaking, my hand does start like right here in the middle, because when I set up for the shot, anytime that I'm down on the ball, I want to make sure that when I'm set, that my shoulder, my elbow, and my grip hand form this 90-degree angle that you see here, because that's what's going to allow me to have my full backstroke and my full forward stroke without having to do anything else. So sometimes what you might see me do when I'm bridging up, depending upon where, like if I do this, then I might scoot this hand back, I might scoot up a little bit. It just really depends. But for the most part, especially for my arm span, this is my set grip position. And to be a little bit more specific, I don't know how well the lighting is going to look on this, but these back two fingers aren't really like, I'm not baseball gripping the cue. They just kind of just lay there so that when I swing, my back two fingers kind of gradually open up, and then when I swing forward, they gradually close. But what you don't want to do is snap close, because that's what's going to give you the unnecessary movement that XT Bum might actually be having, which is causing him to miscue when he does his draw shots. So when I'm doing my practice strokes, my back two fingers kind of just gently open, which I'm pretty sure you probably cannot see from that webcam, but then they also gently close back onto the cue when I do my forward swing. So I hope that answers your question, or at least gives you some idea. Oh, rotation during your stroke, then that tells me that your follow through is too far. If you're talking about like you actually like curl, let me do this. Yeah, if you're talking about like you actually curl your wrist in like this, that tells me that I think your follow through is actually too long. If you shorten your follow through, then that should stop that. Well, Devin, thinner than a Revo. I mean, I think the Revo just came out with an 11.8. You know, so they have the 12.9, the 12.4, and the 11.8. Yeah, so TBZ, I can try to show you that again. This is why I think it's probably due to your follow through. So if you take any alignment that you have for the cue ball, I'm actually going to be to the side of the cue ball so that I can actually do my follow through. If I follow through here naturally, this is where my hand naturally wants to stop. And what you're probably talking about is that if you keep going forward, you have to be able to turn in order to keep going forward. Because you, like once you get here, like it's impossible to go further forward unless you rotate your wrist, because now you can actually go forward, because here's the stopping point with this type of grip. And in order to go forward more, like my shoulder starts to turn and then my wrist starts to turn. But I generally don't do that. So when I'm set and I'm going to go through the ball, where my hand naturally wants to stop is where I stop, just like that. Because otherwise, that's why you'll see people do this, because they're in my opinion, they're just going too far. Hopefully that adds a little bit more clarity. What Devin mentioned is also a possibility. If you're talking about that you have a very long stroke, like how far away is your bridge hand from the cue ball? Because if you have a a lot of distance between there, that's also going to play into effect, because remember your pendulum swing is only going to be so far naturally by itself. So that's why you want to be rather close to the cue ball. 6 to 8 inches, I think, is usually the recommended length. So that way you have a natural swing back and swing forward. But if it's longer than that, then you're cutting off the amount of follow through that you can actually have, which is going to require you to rotate your shoulder, drop your elbow, possibly twist your wrist just to get more follow through than you're going to need. I don't think I've heard of the kamikaze brake tips, so let alone I haven't tried them. Like I said, so far I've only tried with what came with the equipment. So the BK brush comes with a BK hybrid tip, and my 12.9 Revo shaft came with a Predator Victory Soft. So your natural bridge length is 8 to 10 inches. I mean, are you a tall person? Because I would think that 8 to 10 inches is rather long, and you might want to shorten it to 6 to 8, and then you won't have to try to emphasize your follow through with the twisting of your wrist. I personally do not know how the bulletproof tips play, but people, I have put them on like 1 or 2 shafts in my local area, and I know some people like in the Dallas area and the Austin area that play with bulletproof tips, and they really like them. So in regards to the bridge length, just think of it like this. The longer your bridge length is, the more margin of error that you have in regards to delivering a straight stroke. Right? Because if you've got all this distance between the cue ball and the object ball, and you're actually pulling that far back, then you have all that distance to actually have an error in your stroke and go to the left, to the right, to the up, or even down. And so the shorter your bridge length stroke is, then the less margin of error that you can actually have in your stroke. So I'm not suggesting that there's anything wrong with you having 8 to 10 inches. It's just be aware of that margin of error that you have with the longer bridge length that you have. I mean, I can believe that, Camden, but I can also believe that on any type of cue or any type of tip, even if it's not a brake tip. I mean, if it's a bad tip, it's a bad tip, right? And so I've seen leather tips where they actually break, like a chunk of it actually comes off of it. The only problem that I've ever had with any of my brake tips is that they fly completely off of the cue, and I've been trying to figure out better ways to make sure that I glue them on better. Because I mean, think of the abuse that a brake tip actually does, especially with someone that breaks with power rather than breaking with finesse. I mean, brake tips take a lot of abuse. I mean, Tristan, I'm not gonna use the word need for your question there, because when I'm a words guy, so you gotta choose your words good for your sentence. And need, I mean, I'm going to say no, you don't need it, because if you have a long bridge on a shorter table, is that going to play some sort of factor? I mean, not if you're a good player, right? So it's not like it's really going to make a difference. Like I said, just because you have an 8 to 10 inch bridge hand length, there's nothing wrong with that, but you do have to be aware of the margin of error that you can have when you're actually stroking through the cue ball. I'm just saying that the longer your bridge length is the more margin of error your bridge length can actually have, because the likelihood of you delivering your cue straight to the cue ball and not veering to the left or the right or up or down or anywhere in between is higher the longer the bridge length is. I'll have to check out what you're talking about, Camden, in regards to the acrylic tips and, like, I guess the durability. Scotty, that's just going to be personal preference. I used to shoot with mediums all the time, but now that I have my Predator Revo, I shoot with the soft tip, and it took me a day or two to get used to, but now I love it. It's like it's one of the best that I have. But typically, I've shot with medium tips. But like you said, you know, you're saying itself that it doesn't feel as good as your dad's cue, which is your personal preference, right? So it's always going to boil down to that. It's just personal preference. Yeah, Camden. One of the white diamond tips that I put on one of my local players popped right off, and I just replaced it with another white diamond. I tried different techniques in regards to gluing it on to make sure like the tip and even the ferrule has some perforations in it, so that way the glue can actually settle into the tip and into the ferrule to try to hold it together a little bit better. But you know, those are usually the only issues that I've ran across with the breaking tips that I've tried replacing before, which is them popping off of the ferrule when they're breaking. I don't see how an extension would have an effect on how straight you can cue during the delivery of the shot, unless again you know your extension is causing you to have a long cue length. I mean, I can demonstrate that right now with my extension. I know my one of my buddies, he uses an extension all the time, but he knows to keep a good bridge length that's not too far away. Make sure that I turned off my face cam. So, I mean, ideally, so there's my extension. So I'm not sure what's the best way for me to demonstrate this, but still, even ideally, even with my extension, it doesn't feel any. You can feel a little bit more weight here in the back end, even if I just bridge regularly. But let's see. Hopefully, this angle is at least where you can see my shoulder, elbow, and grip hand. But that's why if I do have to use back here as an extension, of course. I mean, look how long my bridge is. But let's be realistic. Am I going to try to swing all the way back here to do something? No, of course I'm not going to do that. If I'm way back here, then my bridge length is going to be rather short because I want to make sure that I'm still in good control of hitting the cue ball, even if I wanted to draw the cue ball. So let's set up a shot. You know, because for some reason, I have a shot that looks like this. So if I try to use the regular grip, this is where I'm at, which isn't going to cut it. So once I start grabbing the extension, if we look and see how long my bridge is, I'm not going to hit this out of my control because I'm aware of what I can and cannot do. So that was a terrible shot. Let me try it again. But that's the whole point. I'm not going to, just because I know that I'm in an uncomfortable position, I'm not going to shoot outside of my playing style. So if we look at the result of what happened there, make sure I get it again. Because what I was really trying to do is hit this with some top left spin to really try to get the cue ball back off of one rail. So I mean, look how far back I'm cueing, and even then, I can see from my viewpoint that my stroke is not steady. That's what I was trying to do. But I'm not going to muscle the cue ball around just because I have that gigantic bridge length. And I still have to stay within the realms of my skill set and be comfortable. So I hope that makes sense. TBZ, it's my 12.9 Revo has a Victory Soft on it. Scotty, any shot is gonna be the follow through is gonna be important on it, but still, when you're trying to shoot uncomfortably, whether you're bridged over a ball, stretched over a ball, or or whatever, like the delivery to the cue ball is still going to be the most important thing. The follow through is just going to so that you can deliver the power that you want to make sure that the cue ball travels where you need it to go. Scotty, I'm 5'5" also, and taller people do have a little bit of an advantage because they can reach farther areas with that without having to stretch so far. John, is that the maximum score you can do with 6 reds? It would be a 107? Because I've never tried playing snooker yet, so I'm pretty sure it'd be a while before I can do a 107. Dan, did you play on really slow felt now, and I'm getting Simonis 860 in a few weeks? How much should I have to adjust? So the simplest answer is going to be, crawl before you walk, walk before you run. So if you know that you're playing on really slow cloth and you're about to get Simonis 860, just hit every shot like you would softer than a lag shot, so you can actually get the feel of how far the cue ball is actually going to go to contact a ball, and how far it's going to go after contacting an object ball, and then just slowly just build up from there. I would not recommend playing how you play on your current cloth and just transferring it over to Simonis cloth. Will I ever play Chinese 8-ball? Probably not. I mean, I don't know any places around here that has a table with rounded pockets like a Chinese 8-ball table would have. Devin, thanks for stopping by. I do appreciate it. So this is all for me to become, doing my live streams and stuff, besides being able to chat with everybody, hopefully answer some questions. It allows me to be more comfortable playing in front of a live audience. So I made a lot of mistakes during tonight's live stream, and I feel comfortable about it. So like when I actually play in my match, the more comfortable I am in my match, the better I'm going to be able to play. I won't feel as nervous. So Caden Herrera 124. This is like maybe the first time I think I've ever seen you in regards to any comments that might be on my YouTube videos or in any of my streams. So I don't particularly give recommendations because when it comes to pool equipment, I don't see it to be any different than golf equipment, because it's just going to boil down to personal preference. So it would be bad of me to recommend a particular name brand with a particular type of tip, with a particular type of weight or whatever, and if you were to go and try all those variations of whatever, and you don't like it, right? So the best answer I can always give you is, if you want to know, like for example, I have a Predator Black 4.5 with a 12.9 Revo shaft with that's 19.5 ounces with a Predator Victory soft tip. That is super expensive. All right, so I'm not. If you don't have to be sorry about it. I don't want to lead you astray or have other people lead you astray, because this is what you should basically do in regards to what you should find out. You can ask for, like, what do I like, right? So I'm going to tell you what I like, but what I'm trying to tell you is what I like is super expensive, and I'm able to afford it, right? But can you afford a cue that's over $1,000? If you can, then go ahead and buy it, because otherwise you're going to be looking more towards something that's more affordable. And what I do recommend for beginning players in the affordable price range are players' cues and action cues, because those are very affordable. They're like, $100 or less. And there's other name brands that are also $100 or less, just to start to get you into the drive of the game. Because what's going to happen is over the course of time, as you get better, not only are you going to want to have better equipment, you're going to want to have unique equipment. You're going to want to be the only player that walks into the pool hall with that particular type of cue, right? And the uniqueness is what you're going to ultimately end up paying for on top of the quality of the actual the cue itself. Any advice on getting a straight stroke? So there's the bottle test. So if you take a water bottle, beer bottle, or whatever, obviously make sure it's empty and it's dry on the inside. But the opening of the bottle is where the cue ball would be. So when you do your practice strokes, your tip would stop right before the opening of the bottle. And so the objective is to go straight through the bottle without hitting the rim of the bottle or moving the bottle. Otherwise, if you check out my last pool drill video that I did, it's a 3-in-1 straight-in drill. That's another exercise that you can do that should be able to help straighten out your stroke. Will pool cues from sports shops play good? I mean, it depends on what the cue is. I know an old Hustler story where someone bought a Budweiser cue from like a Walmart, threw away the shaft, but took the butt to a cue maker and had the insides fixed, and then had a shaft made for it. So therefore, it was a classic hustle of him going into the pool hall and playing with the Budweiser cue, which everybody knows comes from like a Walmart or something like that. So when you see someone with that type of cue, you think they're not really that good of a pool player. So the guy was asked to gamble a whole lot, and he made quite a bit of money doing something like that. But in generally speaking, yeah, your sporting goods stores are probably not going to have like the quality of cues that you're going to be looking for. Yeah, thanks for stopping by, Kate, and hope to see it again, because live streaming is something I'm going to be doing regularly. Yeah, Josiah. So if you're looking for a cue within the 100, 200 range, the recommendation would be like Player's name brand or the Action name brand. Those are really good. I mean, even McDermott is a good solid starting cue that ranges from 100 to $200. Because clearly you want to be able to buy something that you can afford. And I guess I'll leave it with this. Let me go try this. I actually have a video on my channel in my pool talk series where for buying your cue for the first time, and I used 4 different cues at a variety of prices to be able to break and run a rack to basically illustrate a point. So like this cue, for example, is one of my house cues. This is a cue from Amazon. It comes in a set of 4. It doesn't have the factory tip on it because I did put a La Pro tip on this, and this is 20 ounces. So let's see what I can do with this. So it's not like the break is any different. It's just made 3 balls on the break. But let's see here. Play this position on the 2 ball so I can follow up for position on the 3 ball. All right, so it looks like I'm probably going to run into the 8 ball, and like right now I can feel like the linen on the wrap is like coming off. Like that's a distraction. Okay, I think I got a little lucky there. So here's the stretching, and I'm actually gripped way back on the butt end of the cue. And because I didn't draw the cue ball back far enough, now I have to flare the cue ball. I think I hit it way too hard. I'm going to miss the position. I have to probably try to shoot the 9 ball in the side pocket. And I undercut it. I mean, hopefully that illustrates my point. I mean, this is like, this came in a set of 4, and I think the whole set was like $50, $60. So like this is like a $15 or $20 cue. And I mean, I can do things with this cue that's really not that much different than any other cue. It requires a little more effort. Like if I want to try to power draw this cue ball, I'm pretty sure it's going to require a little bit more effort because it just doesn't have the same materials in it. And see, earlier with my Revo, I was able to come all the way back, but I mean that's still a good shot. But again, this is just like a $20 cue that can still get the job done. Because like I said in that video that I'm talking about, I mean, a lot of the responsibility is on me, not so much on the equipment. Of course, you don't want to have crappy equipment, but it doesn't have to be like, you know, the top dollar equipment either. All right, so I've been live streaming now for 3 hours and almost 45 minutes. Just like before, this was a lot of fun, but I think I'm pretty much going to call it a night. I still have a Bowflex that I have to put together, and I do want to put it together tonight because it's going to require me to rearrange my living room. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and cut the stream off for tonight. Thank you for everybody that has been stopping by. I hope I've at least answered every question that I possibly could answer, and then of course just provided you with some entertainment. And you actually get to see the human side of me shooting when I missed a lot of the racks that I was actually trying to do tonight. So tune in on Tuesday. That's when my match on Bang Time Pools YouTube channel will be for the next round. And I do have at least a couple more videos that I have at least a video that I might be able to try to get out this coming Sunday, but no promises on that. So until next time, though, take care, everybody.